seeing that we have a quorum, I'd like to call to order the Community Development and Housing Grant Commission, March 13th at 8:35. I get a roll call, please.
Von Bergen.
Here.
Adamson.
Here.
Drevcorn.
Here.
Grammer. Hausman.
Here.
Lamonte. Moore.
Here.
Pietrorosso.
Here.
Reining.
Here.
Smith.
I did.
Okay, yeah. All right, we have a quorum.
Great. Welcome to day 2, everybody. We don't have any minutes. Do we have any public comments? Seeing none, we will move back into hearings. So first up, we have the food shed.
Should I just sit over there?
Yep.
If you would like to welcome us right up here, there's a clicker there for you.
Good morning, folks. Thanks for taking time out. I appreciate it. My name is Peter. I've met most of you, but if I haven't, I'm the general manager for the Food Shed Co-op, and I'm super excited to be in front of you today to talk about e-commerce and food access. Food Cooperative, opening up, big announcement, opening up May 15th. So that's our opening day. Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you so much.
This building here.
Yeah, that building right there. Yeah, that one right there. It's on Highway 14. If you ever drive by, you'll see it. So we're just about 97% done with construction, and we're starting to work on the inside. Each of you are welcome. If you want to stop by, let me know, and I'll give you a pre-tour if you'd like. Before I get into the presentation, I want to thank McHenry County Board. We were the proud recipient of a 2023 grant of $70,000, and we spent that money. We did, and we're super grateful for it because y'all bought all of the food preparation equipment for our deli department. So our dishwasher, our combi oven, our tilt skillet, all the sinks and so forth and et cetera. So when you walk in the store when we're open, you're gonna see a big sign on our hood, I think, that says brought to you by McHenry County. So that is super cool, and thank you very much for the support. I appreciate it. This is my clicker.
Yep, left and right
Awesome.
arrows will help you out.
How much time do I have? Through the afternoon, I take it?
It's 10 minutes, but Heidi will help you with the, she'll
Great.
you know where you're
Yeah,
at.
I won't do that to y'all. I'm sorry. I won't do that to you. My name is Peter Walden, General Manager of Food Shed Co-op. I've been in the industry since 1980. Don't quote me on that, please. All I do is sell food. I'm a grocer. That's how I help community. So I'm here to run this project. Who are we? Food Shed Co-op mission and values. Our mission is to build a local food cooperative promoting a healthy, ethical, and resilient community. We're driven by our core values, faith, to promote and foster better food choices. I got here at 4 in the morning. Cultivate and strengthen our local economy. Clearly, I misread the agenda. Inspire and empower the community and champion environmental responsible practices. Sounds cool, huh? Easy to do on paper. We need to execute this vision, and so far I'm very proud that we're delivering on our promises. We are made up by a board of directors. Here's my hero, Rusty, president. These are all long-standing McHenry County community members, some of which, Scott Bricks, Kim Bricks, have been working on this project since 2014. Yeah, we're in 2024, about a 10-year project, which is remarkable. Part of the CDBG is to create jobs, right, and job creation, and I'm very proud to say that we've been able to do that. So on the right, you're seeing our store leadership team. We are completely staffed from a store leadership perspective. I won't go through the whole roster, but these are good paying jobs with health benefits, dental, vision insurance, and more than that. But these are certainly Davis Beacon qualified job positions. Moving on, yep, did that. 2,100 owners. Yeah, so 2,100 community members invested in this project with us. They are considered owners of the Food Shed Co-op, and that's a big deal. It not only does it create a healthy business outlook where they're hopefully shoppers, right? But it also creates community activism, which is so important for McHenry County. Moving on. Locally sourced, locally made. Yeah, I almost deleted this slide, but I didn't. This is the categories that this store is going to be selling. So we're a grocery store like any other. We're a little smaller. We're about the size of an Aldi's. But we have produce, grocery, bakery, all the categories you would expect to find in a grocery store to fill your pantries, your freezers, and your fridges. And the reason why I didn't delete this slide is because part of our purpose is to circulate our money within McHenry County. And we're sourcing so far just about 200 local vendors that we pay for their food, and that keeps our money local in McHenry County, so I'm super proud of that. It's also an area of differentiation for us. What are we doing here? We're doing here to talk about fresh food access in our county. We think there's an area of opportunity for that, and we believe that the Food Shed Co-op in partnership with McHenry County can make a difference. So we did some research here, and what we're looking at is a map. It's a map of low income and low access layers. The primary purpose of this map is to highlight Harvard. On Highway 14, you just keep on going 10 miles, and according to the United States Department of Agriculture, they see the Harvard area as being a food desert. What does that mean? It's not a desert, we know that. But what it means is there's low access to food. In order to get to a local grocery store in Harvard, a supermarket, you would need to travel around 10 miles to do that. Sounds easy in a car, right? But it's not easy by foot. And it's certainly not easy by public transportation. So if you don't have a vehicle and you live in Harvard, we have an issue. You're unable to buy fresh, local produce. Let's look at what we learned. The USDA defines low-income tract as an area with either a poverty rate of 20% or more, or a median family income of less than 80% of the statewide median family income. Low income and low access tract is measured at 1 mile and 10 miles, and it means at least 500 people, or 33% of the population, living more than 1 mile in urban areas or more than 10 miles in a rural area, and that would be Harvard, from the nearest supermarket, supercenter, or large grocery store. According to the Northern Illinois Food Bank, this is McHenry County's food insecurity snapshot for 2021, a little dated, let's hope it's improved. 25,000 food insecure people, or 8.2% overall insecurity rate, and 7,090 food insecure children, or 9.7 insecurity rate. Click here for the fact sheet. This is from Meals on Wheels. Anyone ever worked with Meals on Wheels before? Yeah, my dad did. My father had multiple sclerosis. I was in Southern California back in 1990-ish, and it was a godsend for me, being a very young man bagging groceries at a grocery store. It was super nice to have Meals on Wheels. So we did some look at Meals on Wheels, because not only do we have food access issues in Harvard, we have homebound seniors and homebound people who can't leave their front door. So the big question in our mind is, how do we get our food to them? If they can't come to my grocery store, how am I gonna get food to them? So I pulled up this, and I encourage you to click there at your leisure, the Meals on Wheels information, and I highlighted a couple things I thought was super interesting. Number one, seniors eating less than 1 vegetable a day. Oh no, you did it to me. 14.6% of seniors eat less than 1 vegetable a day, and 32% seniors eat less than 1 fruit a day. We can make a difference. Our grocery stores here, our dilemma is how to get our grocery store to their doors. In order to do that, our program proposal is pretty simple. We need to deliver it. So in order to go ahead and deliver it, the Food Shed Co-op would need to invest in our POS infrastructure so we could have click and collect services And then we need to manage through the cost of delivery services. So the grant that we're looking for is 3 parts, 1 part for employees, 2 of them full-time, average median rate at $40,000 a year. The other part is an infrastructure improvement, about $10,000. And finally, a bucket of money that we could divert the delivery costs. And you see the van move? Did you see the van move?
Yeah, that's
I
cool.
worked on that. And you see the van, how cool that is? We got York County and Food Shed, and we can make a difference, folks. And thank you very much for your time. I'm just trying to stay on schedule, but I'm more than happy to answer any questions.
Where's this at? You said 14. What town?
Highway 14, Lakeshore Drive, in between Crystal Lake and Woodstock.
Okay.
In between Crystal, across from a Wells Fargo advisory. And again, y'all are welcome to go to the store, give me a ring. It's a safe environment. We open May 15th. Thank you for asking.
So, if underprivileged people shop there, is it free for them, or is it?
No, it's not free for them. Our goal is to provide affordable foods for everyone,
Okay.
but it is one pricing structure for whether you're low on the income rate or high. It's a one pricing structure store. We do have trust-based programs that people could apply for discounts on a trust-based system, and then we'll review that and see what the discount could be based on the number of people applying.
Okay. Another question, so when it comes to hiring employees, do you give, you know, there are underprivileged people that are looking for jobs, and
Yeah.
do you go that route, like partner with, you know, say Home of the Sparrow or somebody, you know, people that are looking for work?
Yeah. We are partnering with return to work organizations. We haven't really filled our population base yet. So our leadership is completed, but we're starting to move through the general staff population.
Okay.
Overall, we'll employ about 30 people in the store. Part-timers receive benefits as well. They're not quite as expansive as the full-timers.
Right, okay. Like workforce or something along those
Correct.
lines?
Great questions, thank you.
Do you take food stamps or SNAP?
Yeah, once we get our health permit, we'll apply for SNAP. It takes about 30 days, so it may be right at opening. We'll also apply for WIC, Women, Infant, and Children programs, and also LINKS, which are a matching produce program.
Will you guys be delivering to Harvard? Is that?
That's the goal.
I'm
We
wondering how you benefit Harvard being way out here.
Yeah, is to deliver to Harvard. We see that area as needing a fresh food access.
Yeah.
And we have the ability with the food to go ahead and bring it to their doors.
I have a question. Have you looked into DoorDash?
That would be part of the third-party delivery service that we would be using. So we would be using a third-party delivery service, and we'd use that funding, that $40,000 bucket, to divert that delivery cost.
Yeah, I know. I believe the United Way has have a partnership with DoorDash through grants. I'm not sure where that grant came from, but they're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So
There's a number of ways to do it. We think the best avenue is to use a third-party service to go ahead and have it delivered, but it's cost prohibitive.
yeah, I don't know what the cost is.
It's pretty expensive to do.
I don't. do
And there are
DoorDash.
minimum orders as well. So we want to go ahead and pay for that if we could afford it, to get this food to them.
What would the 10,000 in infrastructure be for?
That's to improve our POS, point of sale system. In order to have trip assurance, and that means if you do e-commerce orders and you order 10 items, we want to make sure we fill that. In order to do that, we need perpetualized inventory. So if someone orders milk, we know we have it in hand. So that's part of the infrastructure improvement we would need.
So will you deliver to other communities as well?
We would, but it would be at a cost. It's really the homebound senior or the person who's homebound that we want to get to for free. And there are a lot of those folks that just can't leave their front door. The face of hunger is unique. It's different. It's unrecognizable in some cases. Great question.
Well, I think it's great that you're utilizing our, McHenry County area farmers. There's a lot of small specialty farms that, don't have access to, get out what they grow.
That's right.
Because of, a lot of times it's certain certifications that, they have to meet to be able to sell to grocery stores. Do you guys require like GAPS certification?
We
for-
prefer them, but we do not require them. We're studying the cottage laws of Illinois that would bypass some of those regulations to make sure that we're supporting small local farmers. One of their big challenges is UPC codes to make sure you're retail ready. So we've created an internal PLU structure that we could assign them a product lookup code so they wouldn't need a UPC. Another big thing that we're doing is paying them quicker. We have a preferred vendor network, so if you're within 30 miles of the store, we consider you hyper-local and we pay you faster. So if you're a local farmer and you're trying to get into a Walmart, good luck, it'll take you 6 months. It could take us 72 hours. But then Walmart will say, well, we'll take all of your stuff, but we won't pay you for 45 days or maybe until it sells. That's putting them at a significant disadvantage. So we have an accelerated payment term process for any local vendor within 30 miles.
I heard you're paying them at a higher rate also, maybe?
It depends.
Is that true?
It depends. We're a for-profit business.
Sure.
In order to accomplish all of our goals, we need to pay all our bills. So we need to find that good calibration between having a mutually beneficial environment. Great questions. Thank you.
So for the requested amount, is it 215 or is it 295?
I've seen a couple numbers go through. I have the sheet. I've seen it. We'll take 295, but just joking. We have point of sale
Yep,
at 5,000.
that's what I had, okay.
We have the front end salary for backdoor receiving at 40,000. That's full-time with benefits.
Okay,
And then full-time salary for inventory management personnel. That's like the e-commerce czar, so to speak. Not a good choice of words, but we'll take it, 40,000.
okay,
And then we're looking at that delivery waiver bucket at 50,000.
all right.
And then we go to year 2 and year 3 to make sure we could actualize the program. So it stays around.
So is the requested amount for 3 years then? So it
That is
means,
correct.
so is that, okay, I count 135 in the first year, right? 50 plus 80 plus 5?
I like your math.
Okay.
I like
Second
your
year would be another 80,
Yep,
so that's 215.
cool.
Third year is another 80, so that's 295.
Yeah, good math.
Is that correct?
It sounds good to me.
Is that
It's my numbers. I don't have a calculator, but it is matching the numbers listed on the grant request.
Okay, some of the numbers I have are 215.
I did see another one, because when I woke up at 4 and decided not to come here too early, I did some homework on it, and this document right here says 215.
Right.
And this one says 290. So our application says 290. I figured maybe y'all thought we weren't worth 290, so you went to 215, but that would be the difference.
And then I guess my next question is to staff, are we able to do a 3-year grant? I don't recall doing one for 3 years in the past, an award. It lasted 3 years.
I don't think we've done that in the past either because we've had phased, for instance, infrastructure, we've not guaranteed
Correct,
for years 2 and 3.
correct.
And I guess we never know if we're gonna have the grants and how much we're gonna get years in the future. So, it's not that you can't, but
Okay.
we wouldn't, we'd have to just track that the next funding's around, we're gonna have to subtract it out because we intend to do it.
Yeah,
So we couldn't just give them a big chunk because they have to spend it within a certain time frame too. If we give them 295, they can't spend it in the first year.
Right.
Or in that time frame.
Right, yeah, this year you'd have to give year 1.
That's kinda
Whatever you're
why
gonna
we
give
wanna
there,
see.
and then in the years 2 and 3, if you've given kind of the nod that you wanna see it funded, then we back it out of what's available for the rest of the competition.
we haven't traditionally done that.
No,
though,
we have not.
Right, we've kind of
Yeah.
looked at the project again in the.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm
year against
thinking.
other projects. So we typically wouldn't make an award for more than 1 year, since that's how
Yeah.
the money needs to be spent.
That could be the difference between that 215 and 290 that you're
It could be.
doing.
So maybe that's what it was.
I also want to mention that I think I have a presumed notion that we make enough revenue to perpetualize our business. So that's super important to us as well, to make sure that we don't continue to lean on the county for these programs.
So the program would go on regardless of funding?
It depends. You know, we haven't opened yet. All we've been doing is spending money over the last 10 years. In fact, a lot of money, nearly $6 million
Start bringing
of
it in,
money.
right?
So let's get the gates open. Let's get a sense on where our business will lie. But yeah, we're committed to delivering food to the community independent. To get off in the first year, we're gonna need the support. After that, I'm not real sure. I did see the worksheet, the CDB worksheet. That's the first time I've seen it. And I just applaud the group for doing their due diligence on the worksheet. I noticed that we did score low, I get it. We're not open yet, but I'm looking forward to getting A's on that next time.
I think
Just
with
saying.
the economic development application, what we learned in that exercise too is that we collect some information from other types of funding applications that we don't collect for this one. And so there was no basis to grade and evaluate a little bit of that. And so it's not a reflection on economic development type projects. In all fairness, this was kind of a learning curve for us too.
I thought it was great. I'm just looking forward to getting A's on it. We're not open yet, I get it. But does anyone here have any doubt that we would open? I mean, take a look at that building, it's a beauty. I'm biased, no doubt, both could be true. I could be biased and it could be very attractive. And certainly I think it is. And I know that we can make a deep impact in McHenry County. And I'm excited to prove that to the group.
Great. Do we have any other questions?
Thank you all very much. I appreciate your
Thank you so
time.
much for
I'm gonna
coming in.
run opening a grocery store. It's a lot of work. No one told me that. Thank you all very much.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Habitat for Humanity.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Tell me next slide.
Are the clickers gonna work or no?
I have this as a PDF and not a PowerPoint, so you wanna just tell me when you wanna go down?
Let's go. Try to get you back on schedule here. So, I'm Jerry Monica, I'm CEO of Habitat McHenry County. For those of you that don't know, we're coming back this year asking for $100,000 of CDBG grant money, leveraging with $77,000 of our additional committed funding, and we think we'll be able to deliver a minimum of 15 critical home repair projects to low and moderate homeowner families in McHenry County in the next 12 months. I realize it is just March right now, but by the time we get under contract for this one, we are looking for money that we're going to be probably spending the bulk of in 2025. So this is going to fuel our 2025 repair program. We recognize that it's primarily the homeowner's responsibility to maintain their homes. Our programs are not free. We look to perform our projects with the homeowners, not for them. So we ask for any kind of contribution they can make if they can help offset some of our program costs, material costs especially. We welcome that, and we ask if they're able to help us with some of the work so that we can stretch the funds to help other people that are in the same position they are. That is always great, but we never say no to someone that can't give us anything. If they're infirm or they just can't do the work, or they can't afford to help us with any of the costs. I mean, realistically, they've come to us in the first place because they don't have the money to do their own repairs. So we do a lot of that with grant money and our own money. So historically, any program revenue that we get, the repayments that people make are are plowed right back into CHR, so we don't use that for any overhead expenses. It is strictly going back to extend our reach and our ability to serve more people. So let's move on. So there are some new folks here, so I just wanted to give a real quick update and background of what we've been doing. We started this back in 2011. That was actually the year I started. So we recognized that there was a pretty great need for people that, again, were having trouble maintaining their homes, especially when it came to real high-ticket items like roofs. I mean, it's expensive. You could easily spend $10,000 to fix a roof. And when your annual income is between $30,000 and $40,000, that's a third of your year's income to be spent on your roof. And they just they haven't been able to do it. And you know, as a result, that cascades into a whole plethora of other issues. When rainwater comes in and there's animals and critters and raccoons and stuff that come in, and it really is, it's really important to keep things maintained. And you know, we really started in the recognition that preserving the affordable housing inventory in this county is every bit as important as, you know, expanding that. So we feel like this is really a great counterpart to our construction program to be able to do these repairs. It does help us really serve a lot of people that need our help. So our overall objective as, you know, being the affordable housing entity in McHenry County is to provide cost-effective services for people that need our help, and that's really what it's all about. So we are looking to also expand our partnerships with other agencies. It became obvious to us as well that a lot of our clients are clients of our brother and sister organizations in this county. So we're trying to be part of the whole wraparound solution to not just do one thing and then move away, but sort of be a piece of a larger puzzle. So let's move on. We have plenty of stories. They do resonate. We're not, you know, outside of our territory, and we're not helping people that really don't need our help. These are our friends and our neighbors who really need our help, and it's our typical clients are older people that are living on fixed incomes, generally have their mortgage paid off, although not necessarily. So they're in their houses paying their property taxes. And they just, when there's an incremental repair that's needed, they can't afford it. So that's where we step in. And just to highlight a couple of the jobs that we've done in the last year or so, that we worked with a widowed homeowner in Woodstock who is really in a tough bind with code enforcement, to the point where they were threatening condemnation because there was just so much that was going on in her house. And again, it was paid off, and she was living all by herself. Her husband had passed a few years ago, so it would be a tragedy to see someone like that lose a house. So we were able to step in with your assistance. We used some CDBG funding to fix these problems, and we got everything taken care of to the satisfaction of code enforcement, and all of the proceedings were dropped, and she's doing great, living there right now. So. We also do some emergency repairs. We had that cold snap in November, and we had an elderly resident of Woodstock lost heat and hot water at the same time. So we did a quick 48-hour furnace and water heater replacement. And again, that was through the support of CDBG funding. So that was just a great form of the partnership that we formed with y'all. And then there was an interesting case in Harvard where the two next door neighbors, both of their husbands had passed, and they both had disabilities, and they were sort of taking care of each other as needed, but their houses were in bad shape, and they needed some ramps, so we were able to step in and help them out, and it's just a great story for us. So the mechanics of our program, generally this is not an immediate fix. there's a process that we have to do to make sure that everything is fine. You know, we have an application phase where we verify that they're income eligible, that there really is a need for services. We're not a remodeling company. We're doing safety and accessibility repairs generally. So, and then that the family has the willingness to partner in any way they can. And, you know, sometimes it's making coffee for our volunteers at the site. I mean, that counts too. So, once we do that evaluation and we accept an applicant, they enter what we call the project delivery phase. We go to their place to sort of verify everything that they've been asking for. We look around. Typically, when they ask for one thing, there's two other things that we find that are related. So, you know, the result of that is that we construct a scope of work that determines all of our requirements, materials, and contractors, and any kind of staff. But that becomes a written document that we have the homeowner sign, and the reason we do that is to kind of prevent what we call feature creep, where, you know, they ask for one thing and suddenly we're, you know, fixing a bathroom and remodeling and stuff like that. So we don't want false expectations, but we set an expectation of here's what's going to happen, here's when it's going to happen, and when it's done, we walk around and verify that it was done and that the homeowner is satisfied. And once they do that, they sign a document that closes the project. If there's anything else they need after that, they have to go through the whole process again. So, but those the mechanics of the whole thing make it take around anywhere from 1 to 3 months from application, and it's even longer right now. So move on. Keep going. I think I touched all those. I did want to say, you know, what we have on tap for 2024, we have kind of finally really opened the spigot on applications. We have 30 applications right now that are in some form of either evaluation, the scope is created, and we're just waiting to schedule. There's an additional 8 that have been reached the point where we're ready to start the work. I think we just turned in a reimbursement request from 3 or 4 projects that we just completed. But we're working through in 2024 around 6 different pots of money, depending on how large the repair is and what kind of specific. We have some money set aside specifically for veterans. We got 2 large grants from IDA, the Illinois Housing Development Authority, for very large projects. And then we have some money left over from CDBG program years 21 and 22. But so far this year, we have spent and been reimbursed for about $180,000. So we are on top of the backlog we have. We're getting typically, I guess, about 1 application every 2 days. So the pace is really picking up, and you know, we've staffed up to be able to handle all that. We have 1 full-time person that all they're doing is repairs. And then we have bits and pieces of 3 or 4 other people on staff that are helping with these jobs. So this is a commitment to us, from us, to continue to do this. This grant is important because it's helping us serve kind of the low to moderate end of the repairs. We've got the high end covered, we've got the veterans covered, but we have this, you know, where the typical cost is between $1,000 and $4,000. That's kind of our hole that we use CDBG to fill. And by the time this grant is approved and we're in business, it's going to be key for us in 2025 because, like I say, the applications are coming and we're building backlog, and we're confident that we can serve all of that. But you know, we're here to ask you to continue the partnership with us. So. We appreciate everything that the county's done for us. I really, in my heart, feel like this is a great program, really necessary, and it's popular all across Chicagoland. And my other Habitat brethren come to us, and they want to look at our program because we've been doing it longer than most anyone else, and I think we do a great job with it. So I think I'm done. Who's got questions?
I've got a
That was
few.
a lot. Was that one sentence? It felt like it.
Catch your breath now?
Wow.
I saw you in the last meeting and you really sold me on this idea as far as keeping the homes that are already here looking nice, safe. I love that idea. It's a good thing for the community. The values of neighboring homes are gonna benefit as well. Do you verify that you're only fixing like primary residences, or are these ever like rentals or?
Yeah, no, these are homeowner occupied, and that is one of the verifications we do. We also, I mean, I didn't get into the weeds of what the qualifications are there, but insurance has to be in force and property taxes have to be current as well, so.
Actually, you answered my other questions already, so.
Anything else?
Anybody have any other questions?
I've got
Okay.
All right, thanks a lot, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for coming in. Okay, Coleman Contractors. Good morning.
How's everybody doing today?
Good, how are you?
Doing good.
The clicker will work for you, just arrow left and right.
Cool. Alright. So, I'm back, alright? The only thing that's really changed since I was here last time is I'm giving you an overview of like our entire budget. After you got, I came in front of you guys before and we got some money from you. It was a partial payment and I was led to the conclusion that there's other buckets to like bridge my gap. So last time my budget and my ask was roughly $70,000 and we ended up at like 31 and some change. And at this point, I'm just giving you an overview of my entire budget to show you exactly how much money that Coleman's Contractors is putting in, and show you my gap is still, even after the 31,000, my contribution out of like my operating funds, above and beyond the financing that we're receiving, is the where is it on there? The 78,668 number. So that's the ask currently. But other than that, the project hasn't changed. We are still planning on completing the project regardless of how we do today. So you guys have any questions for me?
We have a couple new members here that were not here last year, so if you could give just a brief overview so they kind of know exactly what you're doing.
Absolutely. So this was the old chiropractor's office, the Goins estate. It was in their family for a couple generations. There's an existing house, which is a 3-bedroom unit, and then there's an existing in-law suite above the garage. And we're taking what was the doctor's office side of the building and turning it into 4 1-bedroom affordable housing units. So at the end of the day, it'll be a 6-unit building when we're complete.
Located on Dean Street in Woodstock.
Thank you, Faith.
Sure.
When you say affordable housing, do you just mean that you're gonna price it low enough, or is this Section 8, or is there an application process? How does that work?
We're not planning on going Section 8 with it. It is just lower pricing, affordable housing units. You know, it'll still be, because they're all new units, it'll be on the, it'll be priced as a new unit. You know, we're not gonna be giving them away for $600 a month. But we're planning on being between $1,000 and $1,200 a month for 1-bedroom units.
Strictly from the resident, not through any other rental assistance program? Okay.
If they are seeking to get funding to, cover some of their cost of their rent, I'm in support of that, but we're not strictly getting funding from one source.
Understood, okay. That's all I got, thank you.
Yeah, we do, I personally am on the board of New Directions Addiction Recovery Services. This is completely unrelated to that project, or that program, but I do a lot of work with that program, so people that are graduating, you know, from New Directions, tend to have my ear.
Sure, it's a
You know?
natural progression into a new
Yeah.
home.
Yeah, those guys know what I'm up to, and when they have good candidates, you know, they come across my, scope, so. Mhm.
Lou, did you have a question?
No.
Oh,
Thank you.
I thought I saw it.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but, yep. No.
No. I've heard you for 3 years now. I'm on board. I wish we had more money.
I know, that's ultimately our issue.
We have about $2.6 million in requests and about $1.2 million to disperse, yeah, so. Sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's tough.
Yeah, no, understood.
This
I would- yeah.
particular project will be looking at our COVID funding, so it'll be the CDBG COVID funding. And we discussed that a little bit briefly yesterday, but we've got about 28,000 unobligated, and then we talked about, should you want to fund this, that we have a project that has kind of stalled out, they've asked for an extension, and that project can take CDBG funding, whereas this one needs CV funding, or the COVID funding. So we talked about the option where we might flip-flop that around to provide more to this ask, to make this go forward, if you're willing to do that.
So there, you said there was 28,000?
Right, 28 and some change
That's
left
just
that's
available.
completely unobligated to anything.
And
How many of these projects in this round are eligible besides this one?
This one is because they're for-profit. This is a CV funding eligible. The other one would be potentially the food shed.
Oh, okay.
And then there's 105?
Right, Full Circle has 105,000 in their development, and they have enough funding to build. What they don't have is enough project vouchers for rental to make that affordable for 20 years. So they're asking for a delay in that until they can either get more vouchers or pivot the scope of who their population will be for that building, and that's Pearl Street Commons too. So we've got a spending deadline for this CDBG CV that comes up September 2026. In the event that Full Circle wouldn't be able to do that, we'd be sitting on 105,000 that we need to pivot. So what we were thinking is if you were wanting to fund Coleman's and more than 28,000, we'd pull from the Full Circle pot, give them regular CDBG, which they can have because they're nonprofit developers. So that's going to be our discussion during deliberation, but just so that we're talking about the right pot of money at that point, clarifying.
Okay.
It's always difficult, right?
You explained it so well, though.
Well, thank you. I was hoping to be clear.
Anybody else have any other questions? No? Okay, great. Well,
Thank
thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for
Thank
your
you.
time today.
What was that other project, Faith, that we would be taking from that may not be completed this year?
Full Circle Development, this is an older one. You know, with the developments, sometimes it's 2 rounds with IDA for tax credits, and they were looking also for possibly project-based rental vouchers from the Housing Authority, and those are in limited supply. That development's looking for every unit to have a project-based voucher and be permanent supportive housing. So they're going through one more round of funding with IDA, and if they're not able to get more vouchers there, possibly through the Housing Authority, and if they still can't get enough vouchers to make that go forward, they're talking about, you know, doing something different with their units, maybe not all being permanent supportive housing. So they've asked us for an extension to allow them to work that out. It's a project that's eligible to receive regular CDBG because they are a nonprofit developer. Essentially, we'd be moving funds from CV away and giving them CDBG to make them whole at the 105. In the event that that project wouldn't go forward, that CDBG can recycle into the next year's SWEPT funding. We would have less CV funding remaining to pivot really late in the game because we've got to spend it by the end of September 2026. Developments just take a long time to develop too, so we want to make sure that we're considering if we have to pivot that well in advance.
So it sounds wise to pivot that, otherwise it's gonna go to waste.
It's the safest move. I mean, that's what we feel anyway, and
And the two places that that could pivot to are Coleman's or the food shed.
Okay.
I got one more question on
Go
that.
ahead.
If we do pivot that from, I'm sorry, what was it called again?
from Full Circle.
From Full Circle, if we pivoted that money from Full Circle, do we have to give them money out of this year's CDBG budget, or
It
can I
would
just
be
wait till
wise
next
to
year?
do so, to make it whole right
Sure.
away. Otherwise, you're gonna future owe it,
Okay,
and I wouldn't recommend doing that.
okay, because it was already obligated,
Yeah,
understood.
yeah.
All right.
Okay, Taylor, please. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Just load up your PowerPoint real quick here.
A heads up, we do have two new commission members, so
Talk really fast, use lots of acronyms.
essentially, yeah.
Is that-
If you want a lot of questions.
And I'd like to point out for this one, they are seeking the remaining Treasury ERA2 housing fund, so this is not CDBG, this is the only one remaining for that. So that's, there's a pot of $340,000 left in that allocation, and that's the funds that are in the bank across the street at the treasurer's office. Well, not exactly there, but they manage it, so.
Do I just pick it up on my way
All
out?
right. You get it.
Briefcase waiting.
When do those have to be spent by?
Oh, God, okay, the same thing as ARPA, so like the beginning, the end of 2025.
Okay,
So,
so it could roll over again, in theory.
in theory,
Okay.
yep,
Yeah, how much times 340 you said?
340. The vast majority of those funds, we had just over $16 million total that we're using primarily for rental assistance. So the second allocation out of that 16.4, whatever it was, a quarter of it can be used for affordable housing development purposes or maintenance of affordable housing, so restoration. So you already made allocations to develop one housing unit and renovate the 50-unit property in Huntley for the housing authority. So this is the last part of the pot of funds that can be allocated.
We're all set. I'm your clicker right now though,
Rolling?
because, yeah,
All right.
I am. So you let me know when you wanna go.
First slide, please, Faith, go to the next one. Good morning, so I am Richard Koenig. I'm the Executive Director of Housing Opportunity Development Corporation. We're a 501c3 nonprofit affordable housing developer. My office is based out of Skokie, and I've been the Executive Director for the past 26 years. HODC is a nonprofit that does affordable housing development in the suburbs, including Northern Cook County, Lake County, and here in McHenry County. So we've been doing this for a number of years and have experience doing a range of types of affordable housing development. Next slide. We're partnering with a group called North Point Development, which is a for-profit developer out of Wisconsin that has extensive experience doing affordable housing development. The next slide. We are proposing to develop a property in the city of McHenry. It's located at the corner of Crystal Lake and Mill Street. Proposing to do 50 units of workforce housing. That would be affordable housing units affordable to families, a mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. The project has been fully zoned by McHenry. Zoning is all completely approved. The funding has been approved by IDA. You've heard the term IDA, Illinois Housing Development Authority. They're essentially the bank for affordable housing in Illinois. All of their funding is approved. And so the county has approved some additional funding for us previously, and we're just looking for the very last piece of this puzzle to put it all together so that we can close out the project. Next slide. So the project itself, just to give you a little bit of background on the proposal, again, 50 units, a mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units, a new construction project. We are looking at a new building, which is 46 units on currently a vacant industrial site. There's a small building there, but on the corner is the the building that was the founding of TaylorMade Golf. And we're looking at preserving that small structure and making that the community house. So the community room, people can get together, have parties, have get-togethers, it would be the community space where the office would be located. So the building itself would have a green certification. It's takes care of all the stormwater management. Each of the units has washers and dryers. There's an outdoor play area. We have internet available in the building, bicycle parking, tenant storage, patio space available. So a brand new building. I'll show you some pictures of, that's the existing building that's there right now in the corner. And the next slide shows what the project is proposed to look like. So a very attractive 3-story building, again, a mix of units, a range of income, so it would serve tenants that would be under the area median income under 30%, some at 50%, some at 60%. So a range of lower incomes, and all the units would be affordable to persons of that category. Next slide. Those are some of the income ranges. If you're curious what 30, 50, and 60%, 80% of area median income looks like for a household, that's what the income levels are of the households that would be served. The rents all have to be below those rental limits that are set based on the household size, so it gives you sort of a sense of what those numbers look like. Next slide. And all the financing has been approved. We've acquired the property. We have the building permits are ready to go. All the soft costs are covered. We have funding from IDA, the main source of affordable housing finance, the low-income housing tax credit. That was approved last summer, so we're just waiting to get on the closing on that one. We have a first mortgage. All the IDA soft money has been approved. Cumulatively, several different funding sources through the county, home funds, CDBG funds, some treasury funds, other funding sources will put in some of the fees to cover that total development cost. Next slide. Again, this is the timeline. We are at the far right-hand side. We are getting ready to start construction. We would love to close on the financing by May. Let's go ahead. It's final approval of IDA board this week. Hopefully get closed in April or May, start construction. They'd really like to start beginning of May. I'm gonna charitably say maybe end of May, beginning of June. So this will be in the ground this summer. And we're looking at just getting this final piece put together so that we can move the project forward and cover all the project costs. There, that was your quick summary. Try to be in and out quick, not too many acronyms, but again, we're looking to move this thing along and are so excited to actually be able to break ground and be able to move this forward. It'll take about a year to do construction. So by the end of summer of 25, we're looking to hopefully have tenants move in.
It's aggressive.
We got to keep things moving. I've been coming to visit you for a couple of years now, so it feels like all of a sudden it moves quick after a couple of years of moving really, really slow. So we're looking to get on the ground and get things moving.
So are you guys waiting for these funds to break ground and move forward?
We're waiting for all the pieces to come together. This is sort of the final piece of the puzzle. It's sort of an all or nothing. You don't sort of close and then hope some funds come together, but once these funds plug in, all the other funding sources come together and be able to fund the entire project.
What was the total ask on this?
500,000.
500. Wait, I missed it. You had your fundings.
Yeah, so I didn't break out the county sources. I know you guys have approved some other funding sources in the past, so this treasury fund would be an important part of that. I didn't break out the county part of the,
Okay.
sort of the other pieces that have been approved over the past couple of years. So we promised we'd get funding, and we actually did. So we're at the end here, getting ready to move forward, break ground.
I don't remember, you demolishing the old mill building, the 2-story?
Part of that taller part that's not historic, I think, is
Yeah,
going.
the non-historic part of it would come down.
Yeah.
Sort of the stuff to so the blue line is sort of the general outline. So those industrial looking buildings there, sort of on the upper right, those would come down. One on the far upper left is the historic building, and that's going to stay. We'll preserve that building.
Is that the brick building? Is that
Yes, yes.
Yeah. You can see it in this one, it's kind of in the center. You can see that chimney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the 1-story brick portion, and then the other is the 2-story, or is it 3?
Something like that.
Something
Looks
like
like
that,
2.5.
because it looks like, yeah, it's kind of like 2.5.
There were a lot of stairs getting up there, wherever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions about the proposal or the project?
Not for me.
This is much better than a couple years ago, and I'm like, yeah, sure, we'll pull it all together, it'll all work out great. We've bought the land, we have the funding, everything's ready to go.
Building permits are under review. I know I've spoken to the city and the city is very supportive, but.
I'll be at the city on Monday night to reduce some of the permit fees. They want it so bad they're willing to consider not charging us full vote on the permits.
That's great.
They really want to get this done.
Are these considered Section 8 Section 8 housing, or are these just?
No, so Section 8 is a rental assistance, a rental voucher.
Yeah.
And so because the rents are low enough, you typically don't need to have that additional Section 8. There will be a few units that do have vouchers from the Housing Authority. So that some of the extremely low income households, folks that are making less than $10 an hour or so, can't afford that amount of rent. But the neat thing about affordable housing is because the rents are low enough that you can afford it based on the income you make, you don't have, that additional rental assistance typically isn't necessary. So Section 8 often helps families at the lower end because rents are so high when there isn't enough affordable housing at a rent that they can afford. So somebody making $10, $12 an hour can afford a rent, but not a market rent. So we sort of are able to target families in that, you know, $10, $15, $20 an hour range to afford the rent that's available on those units. But because there are lower income households who need it too, we get some of that Section 8 rental assistance to help them out in addition. So it's a good mix.
This is why Full Circle can't go forward, because their proposal is all vouchers, like he's explaining.
Because
If
all
they
the folks
can't
with
get
disabilities
enough,
are also
right,
so
yeah.
low income that they really can't afford any market, can't afford any amount of rent. It's very difficult for them.
Yeah.
We have a nice mix. It's a great question.
That's all I got.
Most of us, you've seen me enough, you're tired of seeing me.
We never get tired of seeing you.
Yeah. Thank you for coming
Thank you
in.
very much.
Yeah.
Looking forward to having you guys at the groundbreaking, hopefully
Yep.
soon.
There you go, thanks. So that's the end of our hearings.
So,
Well, and I think there were questions maybe that Hans was gonna answer, you know, before we got into deliberations. I know, Alex, you had a couple things maybe you wanted to ask about before we get into deliberations, so.
I think you answered them pretty well. I was just wondering what funds were pivotable and, you know, what could we pull from this to supplement for CDBG? And you said there was the COVID funds, there's a little left in that, and then 28,000 available and the 105 that it's pivotable.
Yeah.
And the ERA 2, the only thing that would be eligible for that is the Taylor.
The 340, yeah, we had 340,000 for the ERA. This is a continuation of our January hearing.
Right.
We had Omen in, so.
But the only project available for that, eligible for that, would be the Taylor Place Apartments?
Yes.
Okay.
So let's do the easy one first. I'll make a motion, we fund North Point Development at $340,000 out of ERA 2 money.
I'll second.
Double seconds. Must have been a really good motion.
all right. Can we do a roll call?
Von Bergen,
Yes.
Adamson,
Yes.
Draftcorn,
Yes.
Hausman,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Pietrogrosso,
Yes.
Reining.
Yes.
See how easy this is gonna go?
Do we want to do the CV separate and then go into, normally what we'll do is a spreadsheet where the commissioners will do an average, we'll do the average of what you decide to fund on the spreadsheet or deliberation page. Do you want to do CV first and then we can give you the deliberation sheets? I think, Heidi, do you have the sheets for them to use to kind of work out? Yeah.
Yeah. This is just a list of the projects and the funds. Printed, however, before, I think it was Wonder Lake switched their ask. Which one of them did? Remember, there was a little bit.
Is it possible to email it to us as
Yeah.
well? It showed the slides from one of the subdivision yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that, I watched the video.
Go down there.
Yeah, for sure.
They walk that far.
Take a skateboard through there.
So for the CV, for Coleman's,
Yeah, I was watching the video yesterday.
these up the remaining 28.
Well, I guess, does anybody want to put any of that towards the food shed since that was also eligible, right? I wasn't going for it, I was just asking. All right, moving on.
Well, I'm waiting for her.
So again, I don't know if you want to switch the, was Wonder Lake he asked for less?
I don't know if that's, I have to look at it. That's not sounding familiar to me.
One of them had a different number. They're asking.
You got disconnected.
I did it because I'm on my email because I'm emailing them all this deliberation sheet. But, I'll come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll bring up the spreadsheet, but I think I only have it for CDBG.
Hey Faith, while you're doing that, did you ever hear from Pearl?
No, I did not. I thought that was so strange.
Yeah, there's a couple that didn't show. One that didn't show?
I think that was the only one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No show, no dough. I think I hear a consensus around the table.
I don't think I have a separate deliberation sheet.
Did you want to listen to?
No, I need to send it in an email. I don't think I have it as a separate document, do I?
Oh, I don't.
What are you guys
It's in that
thinking on this CV?
Is it tab on the sheet?
Yeah,
I think it makes sense
I don't know
to
if I can save
just
that
a
as a
swap.
separate thing.
So Coleman's and food shed.
Print out for
Qualifies
What do we have
for
to
those.
swap out?
Which one was it?
So
I've got
605.
Which one, do you remember which one modified there? Someone said that they asked actually for a little less.
So they would need 50 out of that
Last year,
105,
they got
right?
6.
To fully fund
I think it was
Coleman's.
supposed to be 3 sets of 6, 3 years of 6. And
They're asking 78,
for 8 now.
so we had 28
The
available
third year.
from CD,
Okay, yeah, I see where you're going.
right?
I'm thinking Wonder Lake.
I don't know, I just got it down here for
Well, that was the last
600,000.
for year two.
Okay.
For year two.
Okay,
Okay.
it's 28, so.
600,609.
I think that's an even number.
I don't know.
I can't remember what we gave her.
Yeah, 20,000.
Okay.
I don't
CD
think,
funds.
I don't think we gave anybody that.
Swappable is 105.
Right, so we take 50 out of the 105 and then give 50 out of our funds to that.
Yeah, because I think we need to something, I think.
So you could print that
Dan
one
said
sheet to PDF, but then you have to enter
Two
in.
different places.
Oh,
Well, when I was
like,
thinking, we just gave it to everybody. I don't know.
Yeah, but that has to go there because of the timeline, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just have to put in the resolution that we're gonna swap those funds. But for the sake of this spreadsheet, the numbers are gonna be the numbers. Somebody
Yeah, so
needs to
it's
refer
just taking 50,000 to full circle. That's what it's gonna look like.
Sue and Dick, we started to have a discussion on the CV funds. Before we
28.
move on to the big spreadsheet. How do you guys feel? The only two that qualify for that are Coleman and Food Shed.
Right.
So there's 28,000 left in CV, and then Full Circle had 105 that we can swap. How do you guys feel on funding for Coleman's? Can Food Shed get any other, so they could still,
They can get
like if we
regular.
use part of that, they could still get a regular, okay.
I go for Coleman's for the 28, for the CV funding.
Do we fully fund them by adding another 50 from our budget?
Are we
From the Full
going
Circle.
on to that discussion still, too, at the same time?
Well, I
Well, I guess.
I think the first
I
question
guess-
is, do we wanna try and swap the code, the CV?
Oh, some of the Full Circle?
Yeah, from
Yeah.
Full Circle, and
I would say yes.
I don't see the harm in doing it.
Like take,
Personally, I don't
tw-
either, but.
like 28 of this and then take like 50 of that Full Circle money? For Coleman? Is that kind of
Yeah.
thought process? And, but then we have to give 50
have to
back.
remember to give.
Yeah, for CD, yeah, so
back.
That's where faith comes
kind
in.
of, you know, like
Yes.
this.
Wait, can you confirm, is that CV money that we have available 28,309?
Yes,
All right, so then.
28,309 and 25 cents.
25 cents?
Yep, gotta get that quarter in there.
Yeah, I didn't have the 25.
All right, so then the money we would need from Full Circle is 50,359.25, does that sound right?
Which in turn
Yeah,
comes out of our
sounds
budget.
right. I
Correct.
know it was like 50 something.
Just so we're talking, you know. 5359.25. If we want to do that.
One of the things I would suggest
Yep.
maybe working with an even number like 50,000, just so it's
Yeah, I agree.
easy to.
Yeah.
You not to cut them short or anything like that, but just in a resolution, it's cleaner to understand.
A little cleaner.
Even numbers like that.
Yeah, here it's
They
like
can shake the couch cart.
94
Push it and
cents,
find a quarter.
cents. Yeah.
Put the money in one side of the pocket to the other.
So I was in the motion for the money first.
I'll make a motion to utilize, 28,309.25 from the remaining CV, and then transfer 50,000 from Full Circle CV for the Coleman Contractors Dean Street Affordable Housing Fund.
I second.
I'll let you guys- Susan did it.
Mr. Rossman, Mr. Atkorn. Can I get a roll call, please?
Lundberg,
Yes.
Adamson,
Yes.
Drafcorn,
Yes.
Hausman,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Pietro,
Yes.
Reining,
Yes.
Okay, that was the most confusing stuff, all of the miscellaneous stuff. Do you want to take the deliberation sheets now and just kind of work out your numbers, and we can take a recess while you're doing that for the regular CDBG?
Is there a percentage on the public service that we?
Yeah, it's a
Or, you know,
15% cap,
Cap.
so.
So the maximum of public service is 207,313.
207, 313.
This is the orange, right?
Yeah.
207,313.
And then the admin is 276,417. That's the part that keeps us out of the general fund. So,
Is it on here?
it's not listed on here.
I have it up on there. Can you see?
I can see it because I'm close.
Yeah, it's this one here, is the 207,313.
Oh, yeah.
It's the cap.
We have a little bit more funds than, we're estimating a little bit higher funds than we originally had on the spreadsheet for CDBG.
Yeah.
And then we have the leftovers is not admin and not services. It could be anything else.
The 89?
Yes.
Yeah. So right now we're looking at, 1,194,926.87 to allocate, and part of that, you can go up to 207,313 with the services. It'll come out of this.
We already took 50,000 out of that, right? So we have
Full
to-
circle?
We have to put it back to full circle, right?
Yeah, I have to take that out. So, let me just-
Hans, I remember you saying, maybe at the last meeting in January, that they want us to fully fund some of these and not spread them out?
Yeah.
I remember something like that, some of these infrastructures, that's what I'm thinking.
So that was sort of like, discussions with HUD and some county board members had been, that to make more attempts to complete things when their requests come through. So you have this big challenge of having a number of grant applications come in for large amounts, you know, which can be done in phases, but then you've heard some of the applicants suggest that kind of setting up for like half of the project is gonna increase the cost over like 2 phases, 3 phases, et cetera. So, you know, when we draft our next plan, we'll be looking at kind of talking about that still, you know, but that's one of the things that as they've reviewed our annual action plan, we've had maybe more projects than a typical community our size has done, whereas other communities might even do things where they limit, for example, no public facilities and no other types of projects this year.
Oh, this time or something.
Right, and they'll do only infrastructure that year, so that then you can actually more easily fund them. That's kind of a big challenging topic to discuss.
Yes, it is.
Because then if they do the facility that year, you know,
Yeah.
then you don't have.
So I mean, is that something that we need to think about this year or not necessarily?
It has been recommended that we think about it.
That we think about it and talk about it? No, I mean, just fully funding, I mean, to my, you know, I know some of, you know, these infrastructure are pretty pricey. Do we fully fund like 2 and, you know, the rest come back next year, you know?
They've gotten so expensive.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Everything.
So I took the 50K for full circle out of
gonna
this
yell at us for that 'cause we're not
rollover
fully
portion
funding the
here,
project?
just to make the math easy.
Yeah,
No,
what
because
it's
I
doing
feel like
is it's
then we can
multiplying,
fully fund some of these
this
smaller
number's coming up
ones.
based on that
Yeah,
leftover money when
fully
it
fund
should
more.
have any event, so I think just plug in, this is the ad, oh, that is the right number.
I just fixed that.
I was looking
It
at
might-
that number.
Yeah, I mean, these deliberation sheets might be a little off because we just updated that this morning. We printed those out yesterday.
Because it was.
Yeah, this is right
That was
though,
my understanding.
so.
He was asking if the 207 for public services, that doesn't have to go, that's just the max that can go there.
Yes.
What
Yep.
can-
Yeah, exactly, yeah, I believe you're right. And what's that ask? Can you add that up?
And then some of these road
The ask is
projects
$292.
are multiple year. So we're gonna have to look.
For the
at-
orange.
And they can receive 207.
Yeah, I got 207, so
They don't have another choice.
Oh, that's right, we take
Oh,
that
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Take that out, take the catch. We're almost there.
We're gonna knock off Pearl Transit here from the ask because they didn't come in to make their application. So that's 60,000 in service. I'm just gonna delete it off of there. So now
did
the
they
ask in
contact us at all?
service is 232, and we can only go up to 207,313.
Is that the only category that has a limit?
That's the only one that's got a limit on there unless we had slum and blight. We also put our 20% admin on here, which quite frankly, we can't do it for less.
I'm sorry, which
And
one
that's a
did you
cap.
need to-
Yeah, 20 is admin.
Okay, so we have to pull that one anyways.
So just make a motion to fully fund it right now. And we can accuse ourselves. Let's get it.
Would be like,
Well, that's for only one side of Elm,
Did you grab a lot of them?
but didn't include any of Forest.
I think you did, so what would?
Is it doing it automatically?
It's automatically doing it. Go from the bottom.
There's
What do you think we would rather?
He said,
Still 232, okay.
Yeah.
So mine is 30 here.
for sure.
Love it, hate it.
Yeah. That's so weird.
The 142 was Forest?
Yeah, 142 was Forest and then West.
You didn't email us anything yet.
I did email the sheet over.
77 for half of Olive.
It's on there, but that's the name I've seen it here. Oh, it's what
This I just sent.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Definitely didn't open it.
I got you all.
It's just 6 public comments and CDBG.
But you have the hard copy of paper. I know it's probably easier to do it in an electronic format if you have it, because then you can.
I just need magnifying glasses.
That's
okay, I can see it.
Oh, they did. They said something. Oh, I'm sure. It's all this. I think we're not gonna answer this. Yeah.
Or recording
See what I
it,
see.
yeah.
Just have an accounting firm.
Yeah.
Thank you, Faith.
Sure. So we took the average of everything that you were looking to fund and we come up with the attached here. You'll see that some things per the requested and versus the recommended, that there's clearly things that you wanted to fund and things that you didn't want to fund for the most part. And what I think we should do is go through and agree to pull some off the request and just focus on the ones where you, majority of you wanted to fund what they asked for. An example here with this one is asking 215 and we're looking at 25. Or this one here, looking at 526 for an ask and you're funding 51,000. So do you want to go down that way and kind of look to see if you're going to take any completely off the table and then look at the rest?
Are we above the ask right now?
Yeah, it's close, I think. Public service, we're over on the cap. Now, let me look at the recommendations for Home of the Sparrow, that's really over.
Yeah.
Can you scroll back to McHenry Township for the park one? Because that one popped at me when you just scrolled past it. Their ask is 291 and our recommended is 2,500. I'd say we scrap that
Yeah,
project.
that's kind of a,
Yeah.
that's kind of a slap.
That's kind of an insult.
Yeah, insult.
2,000 won't even get them design work on that project.
No.
No.
There's another one where we're offering well over what they asked.
Yeah. See if I can do a strike through maybe. Yeah, let's do a strike through on there. And I'll maybe fill these in with green so you know you've looked at it.
Sure.
Yeah, that's.
You see how I've done this? I picked the two easy ones when I talk. The rest is up to you guys.
Too far away too.
I
didn't
don't know
get my
if
glasses.
it's helpful, like consumer credit,
Yeah.
very tough.
Family health
Yeah,
is
20,000.
45, they asked for 35.
Yeah, they asked
Right.
for 20, you're funding 27.
And I think that was like double their ask, so I think 20 is.
On family health, we're 10,000 over.
Should I just
Yeah, go back to
through and
20.
just make
They
it
should be limited to the ask,
Yeah, how do
please.
And family health, go back to 35. Home of the Sparrow also is double. Yeah, really, ooh, that's so weird. That's weird.
I don't know if you want
Well,
to shade those
well-
in green too, just so you know you've done it.
Yeah. While we're talking about family health, that was one that I felt that we needed to fully fund. Is there anybody else that?
I agree.
I agree
Yeah.
with family health.
And I learned a whole lot from her presentation
Yeah.
yesterday.
She does a great job.
Fantastic.
So why don't we just put that one in the green box as fully
This
funded?
is being so small. I mean, I have. That's weird. It's on there. Okay, whatever, whatever.
Can you make it green, Faith?
Yeah, we'll make it green.
Would it be helpful maybe to go through all the public service ones?
Yeah, I think so.
Because it is, everybody seems to want to use the cap.
Yeah, add those up, what is it?
175,
max out the cap.
715, 86. So it's weird what that's doing there too. The formula's probably out because we took something off and.
Yeah, you took out Pearl.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So you have,
There we go.
like the Home of the Sparrow, however much it was, that was an average of,
What we all did.
so
Yeah, what?
so my question to that is, if you go over their ask, that's throwing out the average, which isn't a true number.
We're not going over
We
their
won't do
ask.
that.
We're not going on.
No, but
We call that a data
It was.
integrity error.
Well, you're saying
but
that
that throws off the average
Yeah.
to begin with.
Yeah, it could have
Looks
been
like some
operator
number
error.
that was put into that thing with, you know, when the sheets were out was beyond what they asked for.
Had to be way beyond to bring that average up
Yeah,
that high.
way, yeah.
So yeah, somebody give them like 200 grand? Right.
Or maybe they plugged the floor number into that, flooring number.
You know, that's hard to say what happened.
Who knows? That's
Is
possible.
it this one? Yeah, the average isn't right. It said 45 on here.
Oh, uh-oh. So what else isn't?
Jim, I can.
Yeah, let's double check how that,
I'll plug the averages back and then we'll start over.
Sure.
Okay, I think I know what's right.
it might have been with the formula.
Yeah, they're not, let me just double check all these are correct.
Almost
We don't have the touch screen that my other one does, so it's like, I'm like,
She made her phone.
all right, I think that they might not be lined up the same way on this page.
I take away the flooring
So
for
let's do a
sure.
couple of-
That seemed kind of
So
unnecessary.
I'll do that.
Well,
Let me
I
start
don't
over.
know if it's unnecessary, but I feel like they should get donations for that.
So that one lines up.
Couple of handymen with the.
And then Habitat and Coleman.
Go to the.
It feels less
If
critical
it's easier, Hans, you
yeah,
can pull out
compared to the
the
safety issues.
put them side by side and then just do static numbers for the recommendation one.
Oh, no,
Sometimes
I
I
like
like
looking
with
back.
flooring and buckles up.
I know, it's like, you know, so his averages
Just
for
a runner.
this one.
Yeah, that's what I do, I
sided.
put those down over.
Well,
So
you
that's
know,
gonna be
and,
plugged
you know,
in.
20 years ago, that laminate stuff
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
was just garbage. I've got
So
some
he's
in
getting
one of our
CV
rooms
there.
with the kids, and it's just like,
You too?
Yeah.
I get it,
It's annoying.
it's like, there's a lot of other stuff on this list.
Oh.
I love the same.
Then let's go here, let's see some.
honestly, I just went over, we gave them one last year.
Back to here.
We've been good to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, isn't it?
That's where it starts. Yeah, we have a higher than average for Olson Park walkability project, and so.
Let's find one formula that's right. Copy it all the way down.
Sure, you skewed it.
And
Threw it in there to give
figure out
2
what's
million,
wrong,
didn't you?
just find what's right and
Oh, it
copy
says
it.
409, see that one?
Yeah.
That must be 40, that must be, should have been 49
Yeah,
maybe.
49.
See over, it says
Commissioner
45, 89, and then 409 on
You
that
did it.
Yeah.
So
the City of Woodstock one.
Yeah.
It looks like it should be.
I know.
I mean, I don't know, it's just a thought.
Oh, it looks like they wanted to fund that one for Hebron, or am I looking at the wrong?
You're looking at the wrong
It's
one.
the one, it's,
Yeah, that's the old, it's the
Village.
walkability.
Yeah, go over for it.
Yeah, oh, there you
Oh,
go.
I
See the
see.
409?
So somebody swapped out the numbers here, so
Yeah.
let me see.
Bria
This would be
Oh, yeah.
Commissioner 5.
Oh, yeah.
1, 2,
Lead again? I'll
You, Sue?
come back.
No, no way.
3842. I'd have to bring 5 other people. So.
Is this
You want
meant to be
to feed 6
110,000?
people?
That's the way
Yeah,
I took it,
oh, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Actually, 2 of them I was trying to get, to put in an application for one of the committees as well. So very, they like to be involved, so.
Started with them.
They're all from Moringa too.
This was number 2.
I think your sign is our
Karsten's daughter?
Yep.
She just sent me
Ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, she just messaged me a couple weeks ago.
Number 5.
I think she will.
That's this one. So we're just swap.
So,
Oh, yeah, I see what happened. So it goes, this is a 0.
like all the stuff that was in it.
Oh, it just jumped a line.
Because, yeah, they didn't fund that one at the top.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
And then down to-
Oh, yeah, of course. And, like, there's no really looking at it.
Sometimes people back
It's just always got
Most of it might say, one of my kids,
0, the 192.
you really
Or do we have any other averages that are above?
way over there.
Yeah.
This is the best. That's for you, that's for you, that's for you. 22. Actually, yeah, I'll see if, oh yeah, he would. I'll see if. No. We already told him I'm not one of them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh.
Later I see them. I was like, okay.
Yeah, but I know that. No.
Yeah.
We pulled all them out.
Oh, she's sitting really good. Yeah, she's.
Lights up with smoke.
Yeah.
That's what ours is, yeah. Yes, we told her.
We got it bounced out maybe because that didn't ever talk before. Okay, so we're gonna go.
Dan wants to talk to you just to see. It's not bad. It's more expensive than it was when I was a kid.
Top one was average to 0.
Yeah, they do. He found it out there.
I guess I just find it weird. Okay, so.
She's up for restoration too.
That's where I'm down. This last section.
She's up for restoration.
Oh, you know, we put.
They will go on, they just can't finish the next renovation.
That's all we can't do the next.
That would take away. Well, she's already, yeah, she already.
I got into that either.
She got into some really good places.
Never happened. What are the odds that 15 grand is gonna do anything? Maybe very slim. It may never do anything.
When I asked about the contingency.
Well, we figured we'll just talk to them about our options.
That was right.
Yeah,
That's
where they need mechanicals and
the services
Right.
to
refrigeration.
35.
They don't need everything.
So they can.
Nobody does. Nobody that installs a generator for a commercial building does everything. There's some
Can't fund all.
rich high school students.
So
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
somewhere in the middle of
It's
that.
ridiculous.
Okay.
grant money.
So we're back.
Do everything.
Okay.
Back online. Technical difficulties, all sorted out.
I was
Okay.
surprised to see
Make sure we
the
say.
water main so low. The water
Like,
main.
it, they had a value for that. For somebody who
Oh.
wanted it fully funded, it was in the lineup of it. So it should bring it up.
Yeah, so
It will still
we
be
double
full.
checked everything. We still are at the same spot with the facility here. This was the ultimate result. Went back over all of the rest of the projects on here, so these are all correct. We had started with the family health partnerships. The average came out to 25,285.71 for the 35.5 ask. So we ungreened that. Just want you to reconsider whether you want it fully funded or you want to leave it at the average.
I'd like to see it fully funded. For a conversation.
Anybody against that?
Not against it.
Okay,
They had a good model.
Yeah, let's put that then at fully,
God, yeah.
at the 35.5.
Get my green back on there. Okay. So right now we're under the cap. We have 71,839 to fund max to services. Not that we have to fund to the max, but you have some
roll it
wiggle
up.
room.
Yeah,
Right
they're
now, you're not over the
They're not
cap.
fully funded either with that number.
Correct.
So can we look up at the larger ticket items also to see what we did? Because that's gonna limit how many smaller projects we can fund.
I'm gonna put this 50 here because you've already voted on that.
Well, it's gonna deduct it from the regular CDBG, so that's why I put the CV next to it.
Oh, I see. And I'm just gonna leave it at 0 there for now, so it doesn't deduct it out.
We know
You
we
can make
have
it green though,
retained 50,000.
that way we know.
Can we go back down to, well, wait, you wanted to talk about the green?
I was just looking
items.
at the largest ticket items first, but
Are there any in that green of those largest ticket items that?
I felt pretty passionate about the Village of Hebron's water supply. It's a safety issue, it's a health and safety issue. It's a community that may never have the income to do something like this because, as someone else mentioned, it's not growing the same rate as every other town, so what are they gonna do? They're just not gonna do it. You know, they're not gonna have that money. It could be 10 years till it gets fixed.
Is this, was phase 3 the final phase? I can't remember.
The total amount is the final phase.
Total amount of final.
Would finish it?
For Prairie Avenue.
The
For
409.
Prairie Avenue,
For
there's
Prairie
other
Avenue,
streets in
okay.
town too.
Right.
The fire hydrants, the EPA, the safety of the drinking, I just felt like that was
Yeah, that was one that I also
a crisis.
wanted to fully fund.
Do we pull the sidewalks and put it to Hebron?
Have you lost your mind?
I'm sorry. I don't have sidewalks in my street. Sorry.
I'll walk you to your car soon.
Oh, we got the Woodstock sidewalks also.
Right.
No, if we look at Marengo, we can trim the sidewalks. Because he had that broken down into three humps.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had east and west side of Forest, and then he had, east and west of Whelm, and then a hunk of Forest.
That wouldn't cover Forest
That would
even.
not, there was, the west side of Elm was
77.5.
77.5?
Yeah.
East was 70.4 or 70,400, and west, or Forest was 114.8. That's what I said.
Well, we're also gonna have money from one of these other road projects that it doesn't make sense to give them, a small portion. It would make more sense to fully fund them next year. So that's gonna take some money out of that. We just have to decide which ones.
Tricky part about that is new people will apply next year. So you may not want this one you're foregoing this year more than the new one who applies. So
Yeah, 'cause you
just something
never
to
know
keep
who's gonna knock on the door
Yeah,
next
just sort of
year.
to keep that in mind is that
Yeah.
some towns did not come to us this year. They may come to us next year with a better project, perhaps in your
Sure.
mind, right?
I don't know if I can say anything, but when I walked out, Hebron had said that they're in big trouble if they don't get this, so.
Well, I think we heard that yesterday.
Yeah,
That's a message I heard.
That's what I heard when I
Is there
watched that
a
video.
general consensus to go ahead and fully fund Hebron?
Yes. I'm on board with that.
To Dick?
Any objections?
Okay. How about we go ahead and put Hebron down for fully funding? So back to Marengo.
You do have a couple here, like in the center that are just a small fraction of what they've asked for.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at, Hans, is if you look at Lilymore,
Yeah.
ask is over $500,000 and
They don't have it on the money.
the average is 65,000.
So we may as well take that, reallocate it. The Wonder Lake is also a very small fraction. I mean, so you got 165 grand that we could complete something with.
So Wonder Lake, 0?
I'm a big believer in infrastructure. It's, you know, because a lot of these, as we were talking earlier, do not get money from other places. You know, where, you know, motor fuel tax and whatnot, and the mental health board or wherever else it comes from, they have other pots that they can go to get money.
Well, I am too, and to that note, again, I think we should just take a few of those out and complete one of, you could complete Village of McCollum Lake, and that's infrastructure, instead of partially funding, you know, giving them a third or.
I believe that McCollum Lake one was, the 155 was their priority road.
Yes.
All right, how about we plug that one in?
Priority is Orchard Drive at 133.
133. For McCollum Lake?
At 133?
133.
That was a note that I made, I can look it up.
Yeah. 133, 180, 150.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So what number do we want to plug in for McCollum Lake?
Their priority one.
Let's put that in there for now.
133.
181. 50. If you want the 50 cents.
I'm a rounder.
133 is fine.
You wanna do 133?
Yeah.
We could revisit after this.
Yeah. Okay, back to,
Oh, hey, can I fix the public service program too?
Yeah.
It's gotta really.
Well, is there anything else that somebody felt very passionate about and wants to argue for? Should we discuss? I mean, the Hebron, I felt strongly about that. Is anything jumping out at anybody?
Sidewalks.
We know.
But actually, are we on? Yeah, so yeah, sidewalks.
This is the actual. There we go. All right.
All right, are there any in here that I need to put a zero and we've looked at it already, or we're not?
Olson Park, that was the sidewalk projects.
City of Woodstock.
Woodstock.
Find the zero there.
So what did we just free up? Do we have a
Yeah.
tally?
37.
Plus, yeah, there's a
578, 189. We're at 578, 198.
Let's look at Pad's generator.
I would put zero.
So we've got enough to buy a third of a generator.
A generator is only gonna cost them $15,000.
$15,000
For
for a
what they
generator.
need.
Okay.
That went lower than they asked about, because I thought it was too much, what they asked.
Yeah.
They wanted the
Well,
whole
they
building.
didn't even have a bid, so would be nice if we could get them a generator. I know a similar size facility that just put one in for less than $15,000.
I wasn't overly convinced of the need.
It's never happened, they've never needed it, so all of these other causes have a direct need right now. That's something that you could spend 15 grand on that may never kick on, may never be used.
I'm fine with either 0 or 15.
It's a small, I'm fine.
I think 0 is probably because they did not have any bids that they came in with to verify their pass.
That's, okay.
And it's a very good point as far as fair assessment and what everyone else's due diligence.
Right.
It's true.
You could reconsider next time with the bid.
Are there any here with zeros that you want to look at? Or do you want me to just go ahead and put them in 0? I mean, I feel like if nobody wanted to fund it,
Yeah, if the average was
Take it
0,
off.
I'd put it in as 0.
starts putting more green in your column.
That's what we like.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's encouraging, just for the task of knowing that you've looked at it.
Yeah, it is.
Nice shade.
That's probably right.
I like Clearbrook a lot.
I do too.
That's I think, you know, having 6 men in a house with an unfinished basement is probably everybody on top of each other. I live in a 3-level house with 1 daughter, that's still not big enough. I can.
Not big enough with 2 cats either.
So I completely, my personal opinion is that they should be fully funded, you know, to give, you know, because, you know, on top of that, you know, a lot of the men from what you were saying are working and contributing in one way or another to.
I don't have a problem with fully funding that one. We're pretty close on the average anyhow.
Yeah.
We're 10,000 now, 11,000.
Yep.
Okay, let's mark that one at the 52. Wait, am I in the right line? Yeah, 52.
What else are we close on?
The parking lot for the Alamo Pub, I think for like $5 grand off of that one from being done.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, that it's an infrastructure, you know, I think, you know, in that respect.
If we did 5 more, they'd have the whole parking lot.
Right.
Okay, so
I would
let's
be
put 30 in
with 5 more,
for
yeah.
that.
That's nice.
Where are we at, Faith? How we doing?
I can put this one in here too, because I wasn't here.
The other one I was gonna suggest is the Turning Point.
937, 245.
They had a couple different HVAC units.
You know, I was reading, you know, their maintenance history on, and I didn't see anything in any of their maintenance history that there was critical or, you know, big failures coming to it. You know, it's just all small repairs that they were doing to them.
Right.
Whether it was replacing a ballast or something along those lines.
Which one?
Actually, it's-
How's it on that Turning Point? I think
Oh.
they said they had
Yeah,
2
because I backed it
buildings
out of
and
here, so I
one of them,
backed
I
it
think,
out
is
of here.
the south shelter was their priority at 18.7.
I think we're at 11 or 12 on that.
Yeah, because they haven't out of there and they added the 49 in, which is not a full circle.
Oh, nice.
It's a 115.
Right.
Well, that's good.
Of the resident building, right?
Yeah.
This is the one there, yeah.
Let's do it.
There it is.
The replacement of the HVAC, so like the 11.6 doesn't get a building done.
The HVAC.
Turning point
What-
here.
I would recommend either doing the south building at 18,740 or not
Right.
doing anything.
Yes.
Turning point has
18,740.
I think so.
very consistent with
That was their priority.
staff ranking list too.
You said it was in the south.
That's what they
Yes.
said, the
South
shelter.
was-
Put that to the right of it, just so we know where to put it in the resolution.
Yeah, they said that was the shelter.
Where they're living,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now we're at 679, 568. And this is what we're working with here.
Well, we could do some sidewalks with that one.
What do we have for the sidewalks up there?
We didn't plug
We don't have anything.
We've already
let you know.
What's our average
Oh,
on
yeah, well, how much?
By the way,
Did,
About
how much did?
a little over a third. So we're close to doing the biggest chunk, which was Forest Street at 114. Or 77 for one of the sides of Elm. I think the other was 77-ish again.
71, 73.
Okay. Being from Marengo, I can attest to they're pretty bad. Forest is a road that, they need sidewalks on the whole road, but for where there are sidewalks now, they're terrible, and it's not very walkable. There are a lot of older people there, a lot of kids. I don't think it's a bad idea.
Elm has that funeral home, and I've walked that sidewalk going to and from the funeral home. It's awful.
are they older homes?
Yes.
Oh,
There you go.
there we go.
What's that?
My lead program, that's what I was looking for.
Oh.
That would be a good area, I would think. Any objections to doing any of the three, at least, sections?
I think we need to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd rather see the Elm portion at a smaller amount than Forest.
So 77.
Just know those, I think the need is on West Elm.
And that's what the funeral home, is that where?
It takes you to the funeral home, yeah.
So, I mean,
They're
there's
bad.
probably a lot of elderly people that will walk at it.
They're not being shown.
Okay, so
A lot of
Got me for 3 more years. So,
that was 77,000.
do you have that?
Yeah.
77.5.
Thanks. Again, I'm a rounder. 77.5.
Did we want to zero these two out, infrastructure-wise, or we still thinking?
Is it worth giving them that small of a chunk? I mean, or what do we have left?
Wildwood would,
One of these 217.
Four something.
and we only got 100.
McHenry Township.
We have 397, 858 left.
It's almost 400.
Public service too, right? That needs to get filled in, so
This one here.
the cap,
Yeah.
then you'll know how much you have left.
I have, so far in services, I just have the one.
The one, yeah.
Let's talk about,
Possible.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
have that much left to spend in the cap.
Okay, Home of the
how
Sparrow.
about Home of the Sparrow?
Their case management.
It sounded like that position had long arms and would touch a lot of agencies.
We're pretty close in our average to being fully funded.
I like that project. I thought it had an impact on a lot of different.
Yeah.
But are they able to receive funds for that from different?
You're talking
Mental
COE.
health board, public services.
Yeah,
or something
they
like
will
that.
from several
I will
funding
tell you
sources,
that I was
but also very
I was contacted by the Community Foundation regarding that project, and they had submitted a proposal there. And so perhaps that could pair in if we were to fund it at the average that you have there, that they may be able to time those funds from the Community Foundation. So I was texted literally just the other day about that, so.
So partial funding could still get them going, so they've got other avenues.
Correct. And we may have some initiatives that will happen coming up that they may be able to partake in that we're in the process of developing, and will come from PHCS at a later time with that. So it could be layered in over time, if that's something you think may work.
So we could bring that down even,
You could.
right, and put it towards infrastructure of buildings or
And those,
whatnot.
those requests commonly to the Community Foundation are about $25,000. dollars.
I'm not sure, was it two
For,
people?
I
think it's
I believe it's one. I thought it was one though. I think it was one.
Maybe one full-time.
Because I thought that was pretty good pay.
Yeah, then they got 25 from somewhere else, that gets them to 65.
With the community foundation, though, their grant, they
But
do
if you
want
want
that
the
to go to
talent, you
other
gotta pay it.
So if they do get funded with the 25, that's not all for Home of the Sparrow. It would be divided amongst like Veterans Path to Hope that they mentioned, so.
Oh, it's not 25 per
Yes, the community
organization?
foundation, the current grant that they are going for, they did speak that they do, if an agency is awarded, they do want them to disperse the funds too, with their partners.
So it's basically a partner organization.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it wouldn't go all to Home of the Sparrow.
Well, that made it easy, Brandon.
Now we're right back where we started.
How about for conversation, we fund them at 45,000?
Let's plug that in there and see what we,
All right, we got 352, 858 left to go.
Elderworks is pretty close. I mean, we average 20 out of 25. I am a big fan, that's all I'll say. Any objections to fully funding Elderworks?
I don't know, I think they're great.
Here.
All their services were entirely free. Sounds like they help the people that slip through the cracks when they get older.
Elderly and veterans are where my soft spot are.
They
or is.
They tried with the senior services and got denied, so, you know, they need some help.
what were we doing, 20, 25?
We're at 20 average.
What were we, 20?
It's a doable.
Huge increase.
Yes.
That's
It's really
unchanged.
Yeah, 332, 858.
Can you go up again a little? Thank you.
We do have, at the top is Habitat, which is in the housing category.
Oh, yes.
We need to.
I really
do
liked that one. I want to keep the buildings that we have
Average is
in
75.
good condition.
Yeah, we're already at 75.
I think they should be fully funded.
I do too.
I think they do a lot of good stuff for the community and for
I had them full,
keeping
but
people.
I had 'em
at that point, I was over.
I don't think our admin is up there.
Yeah, I backed it out of that balance, so I left it out of here because I was double adding it.
Oh.
Jesus.
So you want to do,
Has Habitat resolved all their issues with, I know they've had issues with deadlines and things like that. They pretty much resolved that?
yeah, no. Right now they have a big pot of money and other sources too, although they did just pull in a draw and I haven't gotten to look at it. So they had about 80,000 in their balance of 2021, I think in 22 funding. So we'll see what they've got for a request right now. They're winding that down. There's a lot of houses, there's a lot of need. And then they're teetering between that and the shop grant, and a couple of other things I think he's got from Ida as well.
Yeah, he was
got
about different
4
sources.
Plus then they've got the home side where they're doing the actual builds.
Right.
Well, they
So,
also referred a bunch of their folks that need roofs because they didn't have the money for it over my program.
yeah, so I mean, there's need for it. I think that sometimes they get into a bunch because of the winter months and limitations on what you can do in the cold weather here. But they've been moving forward. They've added more staff.
Oh, have they?
Yeah, they added a second person on to their construction crew. And brought them up to speed last year. I feel like it's moving better.
Oh, okay. I know they've had
But
issues in the
I think
past.
if they didn't have so many different funding sources right now, they'd be going even faster.
Right.
So, but they are making better progress over the last couple of years, I would say.
80. Still have lots of open boxes.
Yeah.
Can we plug in
I'd be-
80?
I'd be fine with that. I'm sure they would be appreciative either way.
Let's go back if there's an odd number left.
don't do anything here. Pretty low.
Pretty low.
Yeah.
Yeah, does that even help them at all?
I don't know if that helps.
And
It doesn't fund a $40,000 position.
So that was $5
Well,
grand.
one was the POS system.
Okay.
They had
And that's a 3-year
positions.
figure, by the way.
40,
215.
Oh, yeah, it is, so, yeah, that's right,
I thought
because when they
295 was
wanted,
the 3-year.
what's it, like 80,000,
Okay.
80,000, and then the other was 135.
Yeah, 135 was for the first year.
Yeah.
It's for a bucket.
And they created two
I got
positions.
delivery 50,
for,
e-commerce 40,
you know,
something receiving, then 5,000 for POS.
Hire two people.
What I was trying to understand with that was.
Yeah, it wasn't some
The
point of
argument
sale
was for
service
how
in
they were
real
gonna
time, so
help
if I
the
take
food
a jug
desert
of milk off,
Oh, it
it's
was
tracking how many are left once I bring
If
out.
it's anything like
Delivery
Walmart and
fees.
Sam's,
They
they'll
were gonna take
also print a
50,000
barcode and
away
sticker that
delivery
goes
fees
on.
to
Yeah.
Harvard.
So they.
Got it.
They know
That's
when
they're
they're
storing on the floor.
Yeah.
Keeping track of their stock in real
I
time.
mean,
I like
it's
it.
great, I do too.
Especially if
I
you're only
really
getting out of the
do.
damn car.
Right.
Is this something new that they're doing, or is it established?
It's
so hard to see
It's
that.
gonna be.
Business model.
Yeah, I knew they hadn't opened yet, that's why I was wondering if
He admitted
it's
I used to run
even
that
feasible.
before, that wasn't on their.
Their initial, yeah,
Accessible, you know, for.
that's what I was wondering.
It seems like
Any good
the
air?
main beneficiary of that program is farmers, local farmers that have a hard time getting into Walmart or Meijer. Is that fair to say?
For this program?
Yes.
Co-op?
No, I don't think so. I think that the main beneficiaries were the people that would receive the free delivery.
The Harbor
food.
people that are
Program, yeah.
stuck in their houses type thing.
Go there.
They could probably have.
But you're kind of on a
You know,
track there,
they could
because it's
certainly
actually something
consolidate
we
trips
thought
to
about before of small
Wouldn't have
branch
to be one at a time.
businesses, small farmers, to help them buy equipment, seeds, et cetera, so that they can participate with them. So
We're not gonna see the
definitely
Crystal Lake
something we thought
Library.
about. I think
We
We started to talk about that, yeah.
Since
And
they
it
use
might
that
be something
library
where
all
you
the
pull
time.
the cards fund out, and you have that separate thing.
From the.
So
It's
if
a
we,
little hard to do.
When do they do
Not
the
there.
if we fund
They're
them
a subset of-
5,000 for their point of sale system.
They don't have library tax in Crystal Lake?
Because then he doesn't have a staff to
I know
run.
McHenry does.
I should look, and I pay.
Yeah, I mean, I know I pay library tax for McHenry.
I mean, and I'll even tell you that the
Yeah,
aggregate
it's
amount
something
is being
Usually,
proposed.
I'd have to go back to the presentation
A
and see
separate
what
taxing
she
fund.
said.
It was a last set in the
I
night.
think it's all part of
So,
the costs from
that would
the
probably.
city.
Wow.
That's what they said.
I really didn't have a lot.
That's kind of interesting. Maybe they should rally.
So I don't want to say it's.
No,
not
it's
just-
I don't know what they
But I
started
also thought
talking
that the
about
city
now
street is putting some
with
undue
less
flooding
than,
onto them.
with much, much less.
Things out,
Yeah.
and they'll just do less.
And, yeah,
of
the
it.
thing is
One side of the desk.
Usually it's
They-
raining again, Brandon.
Is it really?
Should be.
Take on?
The first thing that they'll have to turn back. I would think.
That's a lot,
Check some of that, for sure.
Yeah.
That's one of them.
Okay, so what do we?
Yeah.
Table it and come back.
Sue and Richard,
Yes.
what do you guys think about, food shed?
The food shed?
Well, he did say in passing that they had a lot of money. I did hear him
I
say
could say he was spending a lot of money.
Yeah,
that too.
I don't know, I feel like let them open up and get
And
going
And then see what's what.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, the delivery and the POS, that's,
I think that's a kind of a.
it's kind of an ornament.
The free delivery to the food desert of Harvard, though, would be the public service aspect, right?
Yes.
You know, you know, there's a Walmart there.
Yeah, there's a Walmart.
It's a super Walmart.
They do they deliver?
Well, I mean, it's still, it's not a food desert, there's a grocery store.
There is a grocery store there.
So, and that's what he was getting at, that there was
I would
no,
not want to buy that grocery store,
but they saw
have
it.
food available.
They do have food available.
It is.
Well, I don't.
I tried looking it up.
It's a grocery, it's a super Walmart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's a
like
full
Geneva.
grocery
Yeah.
store?
Okay.
Within 10 miles.
They have it. I'll give you that.
People go up there because it's cheaper because of the Illinois
Yeah.
gas.
It's right by my gas. Real bad.
They have
So
it.
what's the,
So people can't get their groceries.
Yeah, I think Walmart has like a $99 membership thing.
Oh, like similar to Amazon?
And they deliver.
Delivering, yeah.
in the spirit of time, I say we don't fund food shed.
Okay.
Good enough.
I agree.
Solomon just took out the sword.
Well, I think we have to start doing that.
If we want to get out of here
before 3 o'clock.
Exactly. So we have more than double ask what we have available.
Right.
So at some point, you know, we have to make.
We have to cut somewhere.
We have 252,858.
Surplus.
Yeah, left to spend.
You want to talk about that?
No.
We have 2 infrastructure, we've got
Leave it alone.
2 public facilities.
I would.
We
I
have,
think the public facilities look low priority to us, judging by the numbers.
Oh, the orange?
these gray ones.
No,
Wait, Independence, I would say, yeah, the library.
And the library.
What was the other one?
Library was here last year and got turned down.
Oh, did they get turned down?
Yeah.
My personal opinion to that is they should fix their flooding problem before we were putting new doors and windows.
You gotta fix a lot of topography in the street too.
Right.
That's street, that's.
Because putting any doors in there, the water's gonna get around the door seals anyways. And it's gonna, their problem's not gonna be fixed by replacing this. And it's probably gonna do more damage to new products that are put onto the building before, well, because if you're getting water, you know, up against any door or window or whatever.
I understand.
Yeah, so I think because she had made mention that they put in that drainage system and it's not working properly.
True.
You know, they should fix that before anything else gets, I mean, you're throwing good money at a bad problem at that point.
Well, you can't fill in like the crater that's left east of McHenry Avenue. It's this big dip down.
Right. No, I understand that. I don't know if putting a berm or something around, I don't live in Crystal Lake, so I don't go to that library. But putting a berm or something to keep the water from hitting that's going down into the
new direction.
I
That would be a
don't,
whole.
but they have to fix the problem before they stop the flooding.
One of the problems with the door was it didn't fit anymore. There was like a gap in it that was replacing and they couldn't get parts.
Right.
So replacing the door ameliorates some of
That's what
that.
I put.
Yeah,
But it's,
but I think the problem needs to be fixed before,
Oh, the library.
you know, the water problem before, because it's gonna just ruin the seals and the doors that get replaced. I mean, at the end of the day.
They were asking for a whole storefront, you know, the windows and all those doors. I mean, what if we just gave them the one worst door out of that? What did that look like?
I don't think there was a price in there just for the one. I think it was an all or none.
10 or 15, but, yeah, there's other stuff, I think that's kind of the mechanical end of the building.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not a public door. The one's a fire door and the other one's
What I'm grabbing at is if the mechanical stuff gets damaged by water, that's a bigger expense.
but the doors aren't gonna stop the water from getting in.
Well, new door with some of it. And again, they showed the picture, there's a little hole.
Right.
And if you can get rid of that, that's gonna save a lot.
Looked like that was just missing
I
a
mean,
seal.
you know, I mean, even like building a structure, like adding onto the building over that thing right there to keep the water out, to cover up that, so you don't have the big hole going into the ground. Because I had a walkout basement and I kept getting flooded in my basement.
Yeah, it's kind of a similar thing, really.
Right.
Yeah.
And I built so it covered over so the water wouldn't go down in there, so. I think the problem needs to be fixed.
Marty?
Since Crystal Lake did not break it down into priority phases, I would say we fund it for discussion.
Do what?
Are you fine?
Fund it zero.
Oh, zero.
I'm watching.
Where do you want those sidewalks?
about we come back to that
Fine,
and see what we have.
that's fine.
For new direction, did we, I know it's blocked in green, but I don't remember talking about it.
Because we had zero.
Since it was zero, she just automatically went, she asked you guys if you guys wanted to cover them. And then
But
she
I
just-
know I put in at least.
I thought I did as
Maybe
well
that
for
formula might be off.
Was that for the roof and the door?
Yeah, the
Roof and the
For the
trees.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Transcription was done.
So it looks like the average was 25,000.
There you
So,
I think they just went and zeroed it out because it was at 25.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So this should be the average for you guys of 25,000 in this category.
go. I think they needed about 33 to do the roof and the trees, if that's what you want.
And what was the other, was the sliding door was the last?
Not this one, this was,
Yeah.
roof was 26,750 and the trees was 6,460.
plus
I
he
think-
had a $5,500 match we can take off there,
Oh, okay.
which puts
the
it at
driveway was-
27,710.
The driveway was the other part of that.
Yeah, it looks like the other category. Good to know.
So 27, you said?
27,710.
27,710 for new direction.
Sit up here, be closer in here.
Go ahead.
For
I
new
don't know if this is good
direction,
because I can't.
that would fix the roof and
Take the trees
take
out.
the trees
Take
out,
the dead
Yeah.
trees out.
minus their match that they were able to do. Okay, where,
Just want to look at where we're at.
Yeah.
Project.
929. So we still have about 34,500.
To the right of the 929 I have.
Oh, nice, there you go. So about 225.
We have 225 left?
Yeah.
Does that include our 50,000 that we have to sandbag?
Yeah, right, you took that out separately, the COVID one.
Yeah, let's see, I took the 50, I have it funded.
It's elevated stuff.
No, it's down, it's
It's
deducted out of the older CDBG money. That's where she put
Yeah,
it.
there
Oh,
it's
okay.
at 49 instead of 89, I put it, I only
Okay.
left it so that.
Well, that would be
it's-
39, right?
so,
If we have 89 minus 50, it's 39, not 49. You see what I mean?
Oh,
So just change
yeah,
the,
I changed it to 39, sorry, no, you're right.
there we go.
Where's that?
215 now.
215 left?
Any category you guys want me to just scroll through or?
the housing counseling, we gave them 10 last year. Do we want to stick with?
I'm good with 10.
Yeah, I'm good with 10.
Okay.
10.
Yeah, right.
So we have compassion for campers.
How's it hard to read on that one?
Unless you're over there, it's like not too bad.
More. So basically, the compassion for campers, they go out and buy their items. Have they come and asked?
I know, they're
I think so.
new, yeah.
What's everybody?
It seems like there's some overlap too, between the two.
I'm not sure that Work Corps, I mean, of course, they do hand out items, but their funding was mostly for administration.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
They do street outreach, so
Yes.
they're literally driving around. They go where homeless are, they engage them at where they're staying. They also have events that they hold, which raises public awareness, but also people will come to them that are homeless. Compassion for Campers is going to a resource day and they're handing out.
At the church.
Handing out things, supplies there. So that, they're asking to do that, what was it,
Twice
a month.
Two times a month, they're handing out supplies at an event. But street outreach is a lot more in-depth, and what it seems like they overlap would be just a minor portion of what Works does, so.
When we were reflecting on it, there was a lot of emphasis on their recent project with the bus of folks being dropped off, and I think maybe that's where it could have derailed the perception, because they have done some incredible work around that with a lot of community support, but that's not really the thing that they were asking for. We had to go back and review that too.
There's a lot of staff engagement with the homeless people that, you know, need to build a trust. There's a rapport they have to have. So, you know, some won't even give you a name.
Right.
You know, and they're like really, you know, afraid to ask for some help or get some services that they really truthfully need. And so it takes several engagements with the client. Whereas, you know, the other, not that they're bad to hand supplies out, of course, but they're not doing that engagement component. They're not meeting them on the street, and so it's not really truly street outreach. It's definitely a nice resource.
And I would say WARP is definitely the agency that goes out to, the only agency for our homeless system that goes out and meets them where
I
they're
had
at.
a higher number written down than the average was, so. For WARP, yeah. But
What do we have left? And then what else is still on our?
We have about 96 left for the public service. So in the orange, we can still put into 96.
What was our total left over?
And then we
200?
205.
What do we have?
it's at the top.
Yeah, just so we know what the opportunity cost is here.
You've got your couple of infrastructure and a couple of facilities.
So the huge road projects.
Yeah, your bigger projects in the green still. And then for gray, we have these two left over, library and then independence and therapy.
Are any of
Independent health. I don't have this list.
Their Washington building was their older building, their priority. They had 12,000 for windows, 27 for sidewalks. 3.6 for wheelchairs.
Yeah, that's one where the sidewalks are all
Yeah,
buckling in.
carpet on concrete.
The windows didn't open, they were leaking.
Yeah. That was my what I felt like their priority would be was the sidewalks.
Yeah.
Because
They
it's a
always
safety.
have that, it's a high traffic.
When I asked him the priorities, he always says least priority is the bulbs. There's no bulbs.
Yeah.
Right.
But he did prioritize the remainder.
And they're all pretty legitimate priorities, right?
What did we average on independence? We averaged 17.
Sidewalks are about 27.
So the total is 61, and that's including the bulbs.
So out of the things that we have, we could fund from here down and not do any of the roads, right? Up there?
Yeah, I think so.
Or is there
Yeah.
still room for a road project and one or two of these other services?
What do we have, 205?
Yeah,
No? Okay.
For the road
no.
project,
Next minimum road project is what? At least 100 grand, right?
It's like
If you don't fully fund. Sorry, you want to see the roads?
Yes.
so Lily Moore, the one
Would they
road was
212.
212.
Crest.
That would take everything.
That's everything, okay, so we do everything.
Wildwood,
That was 217,
Okay.
53 for East Lake Shore.
yeah.
So it's a
we can't-
trade-off.
We can't really do either.
Unless we-
Half a block, which you could, but, you know,
Why even?
Yeah, they did great work. The before and afters were beautiful. I think that it's a need. It's just, you can only fund so many things. I'd love to see them again next year.
Yeah. So back.
I mean, the roads on Wonder Lake are short,
I don't-
so. And they're missing chunks of roads.
Let's look at Independence.
Do you wanna go,
We can
consider
vote on
some
that
of the
easily
ones
on
where
the
you
first.
did a higher average and fill in up to the average? Or is some of that based on specific set amounts for a portion, where funding it up to the average wouldn't make sense?
So let's wrap up those two line items. We don't have enough money to even fund one phase of either project.
Zero those out.
So as much as I hate to do it, we're gonna have to.
Yeah, I mean, those two
But
together
we
was
just-
our
we
whole
can't.
budget.
Yeah.
Well, they had, the Wonder Lake, he's got it in phases. The one is 155, 380.
Wonder Lake.
Yes, the East Lake Shore Drive to Hilltop Drive.
Oh.
Well,
It's a factor.
I mean, that's the least expensive of the
okay, so
three.
155 minus what was their contribution that they were gonna put?
200 on the full.
Will it be what, 10%? So
Would have to be 10%, yeah. We'd require them to put 10%, so 15,000.
That was the
So,
smallest section,
one-
but that was not their priority section. That's Back Bay Road.
Which one?
Back Bay is what I have written as priority.
Is it?
I thought East Lake
I did
Shore
too.
was their priority, which is the
That's what I
217.
wrote down. for
East Lake
217.
Shore, Salem to Back Bay is the first one, so that's probably where we got back.
217,000.
Or we
Yeah.
got Back Bay from, was that gap.
So we're still back at the 217.
I think so.
Which we don't have.
Right. But I think funding one of them is better than funding the other.
Well, I mean, as far as infrastructure, we've got McCollum Lake and Hebron.
And they all did say that it was better to do it all at once instead of set up, come back again, set up, and come back again, so. I would love to see them again next year, and hopefully we can fully fund at least one of those projects.
We have funded both of them previously for other phases. I'd like to give them the money to
Right.
fund, you know, at least one phase of their project, but we just, it's not there. We don't. Unless you can see something else to take away, but it's a lot to make up.
Right.
So I think we're kind of forced to not fund them this year.
I concur.
How about the Woodstock sidewalks? I mean, that's a reasonable ask.
Well, for that, to fully fund that, it's 90. Independence Health. That was, what was the amount?
Total ask was 61,147.
Annoying
Salem for 27.
It was 20.
So then if you back out their 10%.
Total cost 20. Oh, that's project
27
one, I'm sorry.
Plus 12. So 59,
Pick one or the other.
about 35,000.
What'd you say 35?
35,000. That would give them 2 of their priority items minus their 10%. Are you guys good with that, Sue, Richard?
What'd you come up with 35?
Because he told me 20.
I think 27 for the sidewalks.
27 for sidewalks.
12 for the windows.
Yep.
Minus their, kind of their 10%, yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. The library,
I'd like to put it towards drainage. Or
They didn't ask for that, but they.
I know. It's just, it feels like a Band-Aid.
Back in the summer with any extra home funds, maybe we can do something small with the CDBG. We don't allocate it all right now. Maybe consideration.
Given the lovely weather and the time of day.
Well, and sometimes things come up, you know, so as you get into a different season and things evolve.
What do we put in?
If we were to,
We have 170,000 left. We have War Corp Compassion for Campers in the library.
how about 12,000 for the campers?
Yeah.
That's half of their.
Sounds good.
We can spend 24,500 still for
In the
War
orange.
Max. And then in total, we have 158 left.
Oh. So how about
Give Warp the remainder and then
24
To War Corp,
to work core?
or getting the remainder of the 24.
And what do we have left?
133,500.
Do you want to go back up to Habitat?
Oh, one question I had, did everybody have 0 on that Brown Bear daycare one? Because I think that.
I did.
Was it all 0?
I had.
Yeah.
And you asked for Habitat, sorry.
Or do you want to put any of that remainder money towards something else that we didn't?
Well, now you could do the sidewalks and the Woodstock, or Marengo.
100 or
80. Or Marengo. You could do another section of Marengo sidewalks.
you're poking him over there.
Kicking him under the table.
I also have a bias, so.
I'm just teasing. I don't think any of these are really bad projects, so.
No, that's the really tough part. They're all great projects and.
Maybe do half of the Woodstock sidewalks, I mean, it's a park, so there's a square, they could, a rectangle, they could do 2 sides.
I didn't understand his map with the red markings. I mean, so for his project, it doesn't make sense to do
It really.
the handicap crossings without the sidewalks.
Yeah.
Because my God, I could just hear the residents' comments about
Oh,
that
yeah.
one.
Maybe they could do 2 out of the 4 sides, I don't know.
It's like the roundabout in Hampshire that has sidewalks and,
Yeah.
or has a handicap walks, but they don't go anywhere. But when you're using state funds, you gotta put them in. It's like, what the hell?
Come down from McHenry into
Yeah.
down Walkup Road, they have some there, and I'm like, where's the sidewalk bit?
CDBG said, no.
It's hilarious.
So do we want to split the library and Olson?
Do the one door in the library and.
What do we have left?
133,500.
What's the library's ask? I'll make Richard happy.
Library is asking for 84.
You know what? I'm with Bob too. If you don't fix the drainage, they're gonna be back in 5 years.
Yeah.
Right.
And the drainage is a much bigger issue because that goes to roadways and that's where,
They
where
have-
Luke comes in.
They said they've been considering new buildings too. Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, they've tried.
They've
So.
tried for a referendum, I think.
Referendum.
Okay.
Did a huge new addition a few years ago.
I think it's got a petition the city to fix it.
Did they break down their budget too? Because they were talking about replacing those windows above, thinking they're the same age and, you know, if you're gonna replace some of the bottom windows, you should replace the uppers, but I don't know if they broke down their budget
I think they did.
where you know, you would just not replace the uppers maybe.
Right.
Was that an option?
Storefront, windows, doors, no. It's just,
Throw those in there.
it's not broken up.
Last year, they were the ones that had the wrench in the pipe, right, that they asked for.
They were doing about a 50% match, library.
Minus
So why don't we go in and fully fund some of the projects that we're only doing partials for? You know, and just get them all done.
Yeah, we marked them as priorities to us. So is there anything that we have partial that we could?
Right, I mean, like the new directions, right? The Alano Club, or the Alano Club.
We are
is
fully
full.
funding that.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong numbers, but, you know, the independent health and therapy, I mean, we're, you know, just fully fund.
You were able to, again, quite a bit.
Yeah, what else is on there?
Staff ranking too is one of those projects. That meant they were.
You know, the Habitat for Humanity too, right? And fully fund that.
We're 22,000 under on the McCollum Lake drainage and roadway. Is that gonna make a difference?
Yeah, that's one section.
Yeah, I think that was,
Yeah,
That
one
was
section.
one
That's right.
section.
Hold on, one other, one.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I was looking at the average. That was a full phase.
That's the hard thing about employee training is that they've figured out what counts.
I'd do something towards the Woodstock sidewalks. That'll get some part of the project going. They said they were doing a pickleball court and tennis courts now.
Right,
Maybe do that side.
or just do the whole thing and be done with it,
The whole
right?
thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe
if
we'll come
they're,
up with
Yeah, they've got
the
other funding sources.
the rest. Or do you wanna give it to Habitat?
I think Habitat for Humanity is a big.
I would be fine with.
I think
bringing
keeping
that.
people, especially elderly, in their houses is a big,
Yeah, let's fully fund Habitat.
it's just my,
We also say about those kinds of projects, they're scalable, so if you give them more money, they do more, less money, they do less, so.
Right.
We've worked with the housing authorities, one thing we didn't talk about at the beginning of all this because it was allocated some time ago, but Michelle, who's left for the day, has been working with them and diligently working on a roofing program, so she did mention at some point that they had an overflow of people, too many applicants for their roofing program. They've got people that they need to service, so I think that's a very wise use of it.
We have 113,500 left.
There's no more room in the public services at this point?
We have 113 left?
Yeah.
What if we fully funded New Directions? What does that look like? We're 24 off, 23 off.
You have 90 left?
113.
Do you want me to throw in 50 here?
Sure.
So you got 90 left, which is, could still do the Woodstock sidewalks.
91. 91.
I might ask at 89. Do you want to do that?
Who's that?
The Woodstock sidewalks? They're asked at 89.
And we have 91.
It would be a fully funded project, which is always good.
Yeah.
You would get that, Susan?
Sure.
We don't. Okay, we're done.
And let's sweep the remainder.
We're done.
So close.
We're done.
We'll leave it Woodstock for the record, just.
Nice, that's good. A lot of fully funded ones out of this round, that's really good. Mhm. I'll do a slow breeze through just so you guys can see where it all landed. That's all, folks. Awesome.
Now we have to vote?
Okay. Start with the Marengo.
We have to pull Marengo.
Pull Marengo.
Yep. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to fund City of Marengo at $77,500.
A second.
Roll call, please.
Baumberger,
Yes.
Adamson,
Yes.
Draftcorn,
Yes.
Houseman. Abstain. Moore,
Yes.
Ventura Rosso,
Yes.
Reining. Yes.
Okay, great. Motion carries. I believe in the past, we did one motion for the remainder.
For the remainder?
So if you would like to.
It's usually Larry's
Larry
motion.
does
He's
his
here.
own.
Larry, come on, Larry.
Got a new knee or something?
A motion, yes.
I'll second. If,
Mr. Moore.
that'd be Richard.
Fisher.
Okay, roll call, please.
Baumberger,
Yes.
Adamson,
Yes.
Draftcorn,
Yes.
Houseman. Yes. Moore,
Yes.
Ventura Rosso,
Yes.
Reining.
Yes.
Yay.
Nice job.
Mostly.
We have one small housekeeping item, a couple small housekeeping items, and it will be quick.
Yep, I will be quick. So the first thing that we have is that HUD's allocations for program year 2024 was decided by Congress. So last year, we received just under $700,000 in home funds. When we came to you last time, we didn't know where they were going because they were going as far as like triple the amount and as low as like a third of the amount. So they've landed at what looks like the 2018 home funding level. So if we were to go back and extrapolate, we determined that that would be $575,000 in home funds, and you've only allocated a portion of that because then we didn't have enough applicants. So we would like to put that back out for a quick turnaround. When we do a quick turnaround, we do what's called a concept paper, and then we determine what the commission wants to fund, and then we have them complete a full application ex post backup. I leave some Latin term here somewhere. So that's one of the parts of this. We did not anticipate in our annual action plan process that we would be waiting this long for knowing what our allocations are, sort of a rough estimate of what they are. So one of the requests I would make if we could do this would be to back up the date of the next meeting to May. So it would be a relatively short meeting, but like probably the second week of May, if that's something that would work for the commission, and then we would not have a July meeting.
Oh,
okay. So it would basically replace it. So I think we can reach out to you and maybe see how that might work with everyone's schedules, or if everyone's could decide earlier than that, then we could start the process of working on where we could handle that meeting. So I estimate that that probably would be like a 2-hour house.
Looks like May 8th would be the second Tuesday.
May 7th.
Or Wednesday, yeah, Wednesday.
We used to do so many Wednesdays that, so.
Do the second Wednesday.
It could be either, actually, it doesn't have to be.
So we lose a July meeting for that. May is better than July for me.
May 8th is fine for me.
I won't be available, but yeah.
Crazy question. Can we do it a little bit later in the afternoon, or is that not an option?
That would be an option. We've never done it.
Always done it in the morning.
That I could remember, but it doesn't really count.
Well, because I use vacation days every time I come to these meetings, and I'll burn up all my vacation doing this. And I will do it. That's not a problem. I just would prefer not to.
It ain't Disneyland, but it's fun, isn't it?
I would
It's
say
kind of a
like,
roller coaster, right?
something like that, like a 1 o'clock type of time frame or something might be good, just in case you don't want to go too long. It could be 2 o'clock probably.
Right.
Does that work a little bit better?
That's fine, because I could start work at 4 in the morning and be done early, so.
That's ambitious.
Don't quote me on that work schedule.
I have been here writing grant applications.
If that works for everybody else, I don't
I like
want
it too. That's one less day I have to lose work, lose pay, so.
Yeah.
You could talk with the guy from Food Shed.
Yeah, just talk to him while I'm driving.
What you doing? Mostly listen.
My phone, because
Kind of conversation.
I can look at my schedule at 4 o'clock in the morning, and by 1 o'clock, I'll forget. So as long as it's in my phone, I'm fine.
So are we gonna do a late meeting on the 8th? Is that what our
I'm
plans
good,
are?
yeah,
Okay.
I'm good.
2 o'clock.
Or good to
May
move?
Yeah, no, that's one
We'll work on a room or a location. We have actually been at a separate location, but they want us to usually try to be here.
Oh, that's right.
In the past, yeah, we did it at the Door Township one time. We had elections going on, we couldn't find any room anywhere. That problem will be resolved though, because they bought the room here.
You guys could come up to the greenhouse.
Yeah.
It's really nice in there.
I would love that.
You lose 15 pounds while you're there.
Dual purpose.
And I did have a secondary announcement. We did bring this up at Public Health and Community Services and at the beginning of this meeting yesterday. There is that sheltered funding available from the state CDBG program. They have to apply for at least a minimum of $500,000 and come through the county as the applicant. So we will go back to Pioneer and back to Homeless Fair who applied for funds for their shelters and discuss with them whether they want to try to get to $500,000. And of course, definitely back to Veterans Path to Hope, because I think that one has the most possibility of $500,000. And the fact that they didn't apply for anything this go around. So we'll go back and revisit with them, and we'll be letting the committee know. So by next meeting, you'll probably know if we've got any applicants or not for $500,000. But it's a really good opportunity for us to try, since they have $15 million available for the state. So
I've been working with the shelter providers, and it seems like Pioneer might not be able to, but Homeless Fair and Veterans Path to Hope think that they might be able to minimum, which is good. I haven't heard from Turning Point yet, which would be the other one.
And that's
Great
all I
opportunity.
have. I do think what came out of this actually was some thoughts as to how we can handle a couple of things that might make it easier for you as far as writing all these sheets out and everything. Definitely, I think one of the things that would be very helpful, Heidi, if you're here reviewing these things next time or whoever it is, the phases that they show in there, is to list those out for you very clearly, because it looks like a lot of you have gone through all that. But for us to be able just to have that for you up front, so then when you're going back to these negotiations, you're like, oh, phase 1 is 80,000, whatever it is. I appreciate the fact that a lot of you had that documented down, and not all of you. like we're just zipping right back over to it, and you're like, that part of it could be funded. So I think if we label it out for you, it's gonna be easier.
That'd be great.
So we wanna make this easy. I think this went very well this time. I think there was a lot of very good commentary and thoughts. That's my opinion, but thank you all so much for your assistance with this.
Do you have any member comments?
No, it was a great experience.
A little disappointing to not be able to give more, but.
Yeah. How do we increase our budget without increasing taxes?
Well, most of them are federal,
Yeah,
federal funds.
Yeah, they figure out how much they wanna
Yeah.
in their budget.
And that's in the.
So head to DC and
format
tell
allocation.
them we need more money.
All right.
And we were in Washington DC, with our congresspeople asking for more money. And you may hear about some money that's not CDBG that might be hearing about soon, so. Goldberg.
So moved.
Okay. Second?